Park will be renamed Ellington Park. Cesar Chavez Lane will have the Caesar taken from the front, and Chavez's face is coming off of the Ellington Community Center and downtown Breezeway, with the council mostly in agreement on all of those proposals. A girl who was 11 years old when she and other victims say they were sexually abused by Donald Ricketts, who was a teacher and later vice principal at Fairfax Middle School, will be paid $5 million in a settlement reached in court between the victim's attorney and the Fairfax School District. The Assembly of God Church will pay a portion of that. Ricketts was also in a position at the church, and some of the abuse occurred there, according to the lawsuit. The abuse was 20 years ago. While some businesses that have been victim recently to property theft and damage don't quite see it this way, the FBI says property theft and damage crimes went down about 40% in Bakersfield from 2020 to 2024, reports Bakersfield Now, citing recent data released by the FBI. The police say they will be taking a good look at those stats to see what helped. Hazardous waste should be disposed of properly, says Kern County Public Works, and they are making way for you to do that at 3 free drop-offs this month. They'll be May 8th at the Lebec Transfer Station on Landfill Road, starting at 9 a.m., May 15th in Tehachapi at that transfer station, May 30th at the Kern Valley Transfer Station. That'll be 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
To the rest well, in a month from now, this Hollywood Big Shot's going to give you what you want.
Triple H starts shooting in a week.
I'm going to make him an offer again with you.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230.
Oh, yeah, Sherry.
I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, however you may be viewing, for those subscribing on YouTube. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Tuesday, 21st day of April. Got another busy show on this weird weather afternoon. Little rain. Now it looks like a beautiful spring day. The peace talks are in disarray between the Iranians and the United States. Donald Trump has extended the ceasefire. We'll unpack that in just a moment. Sheila Phyllis McCormick, the entangled congresswoman, has resigned literally minutes before a vote was to be taken to kick her embezzling ass out of Congress. We'll get into that. Teresa Golder is still running around the Orient. So Clayton Campbell, local defense attorney and overall good egg, will join us at the bottom of the hour. And the Democrats have put out a poll, gubernatorial poll, and yet the two Republicans remain atop of the leaderboard, although Xavier Becerra is making a very strong move. In fact, he got a big endorsement today. We'll talk about that. And Shannon Grove was joined by Christina Scrivener and Lauren Skidmore and Robert Scrivener, one of the Scrivener's children, in trying to get SB 1373 over the goal line. And you will hear from young Robert Scrivener in one of the most chilling quotes and bites that I've heard in a long time, where he's describing what happened that night and how his sister came running to him in tears after being molested by their father. And it's just a reminder. It's just another slap in the face to this fiasco of an investigation and fiasco of a prosecution, and the fact that Kathy Scrivener is running around part of a board, a school board, and it was that very granddaughter who she allegedly told, according to our sheriff, not to speak to the police. but she spoke to her brother. We know that for a fact because he testified today in Sacramento to the fact that she came running to him and told him what had happened. But yet the grandmother who told her not to say anything to the cops is still a board member. And none of the board members have the temerity to step up and demand her resignation. Only in Bakersfield could something that absurd happen. God, I was in a good mood about 45 seconds ago. But just thinking about that. I'm a criminal, but I'm a school board member. And none of my colleagues are going to rat me out and bring it to the public's attention that the sheriff basically said I committed a crime. Because it's Bakersfield. Good. Googly moogly. And talk about injustice. We'll get into this Donald Ricketts, this Fairfax vice principal. We finally caught up with this guy. He's got a long past of alleged sexual misconduct. Got convicted. You know what he got? You know what he got, Chris?
Not enough.
3 years. 3 years. You can have sex with a child under 14 and in the great state of California get sentenced to 3 years. The guy that hit me in the face got 2 years for hitting some idiotic radio talk show host in a restaurant. He got 2 years. This guy has sex with somebody under the age of 14 and he got 3 years? Really? Do you see what I'm talking about when I say we talk a really good game in this society about defending our seniors and defending our children, and we catch a man with a long history? There's Daniel Rodriguez, who was representing the victims, is saying that he was at some church, Fairfax Assembly of God, and suddenly a sexual molestation case spot came up there. They settled the case. They settled the case. In other words, this guy has just been passed along. How does a guy like this become a vice principal? He was a cop in Arvin. There were allegations there. He quit before they fired him, according to Rodriguez. This guy was the worst kept secret in law enforcement. Well, it didn't get to law enforcement among people, among his people that he worked for, his employers. And then when it finally caught up with him, 3 years. 3 years. I don't even know what to say about that. But anyway, we begin with the situation with Iran. And once again, Donald Trump has backed up the deadline. We look weak right now. And I don't like saying this out loud. We need to bomb the hell out of them. The peace talks are in disarray. We just need to say, all right, bring Vance back. Screw it. Let's go. Let's start up again. We're in this thing now. We're in this thing. We're ensconced. It's going on 2 months now, or 51 days. It's longer days. We're going on almost 3 months. And I think Trump is beginning to panic. I really do. I told you Friday he was going to back up the deadline. Did I not? Did I not? How did I know that? How did I know that? Just a good guess? No, it's a pattern of behavior. He loves the 2-week extension. He loves it. Well, we'll do it next week. 2 weeks. We're moving. But no, we need to bomb the hell out of these people right now. Not their infrastructure. And maybe that's part of the problem. We've devastated everything. We don't have any other targets but residential or targets that would be international war crimes. I don't think we should do anything that really affects the Iranian people, power plants, bridges, etc. But I think the war needs to get back up on its feet. We are in a conflict with, let's not forget, with whom? The greatest exporter of terrorism, the people that keep Hezbollah up on its feet, the people that have been dogging us for 47 years. I think we need to step it up. I don't think these peace talks, I think this is just a delay on the Iranians' part. I think they are rebuilding their drones, trying to get back their missiles, trying to appeal to Vladimir Putin and maybe even Xi to help them get back on their feet. If you look at the two peace plans, they're north and south. They're black and white. It's not even close. It's not even close. They want money to, kind of, I guess, an Iranian Marshall Plan. I don't know. I have no idea. I really don't. I don't have the answer. And the problem is, I don't think the administration does either. J.D. Vance was supposed to be on a plane this morning. He was spotted at the White House. Apparently, everybody was at the White House this morning. Marco Rubio, his son-in-law, just the whole think tank was at the White House this morning. I think they are in disarray. I think they don't know where to go or what to do at this point. And they're talking about the Iranians don't have the cards. Oh, yes, they do. The Strait of Hormuz remains closed. The blockade is still in effect. And yes, we're hurting them to the tune of some $400 million a day. But politically, and this is what Vietnam was about. If you talk to a lot of veterans, they will tell you militarily, we won in Vietnam. But politically, we could not sustain. And Trump is at a 67% disapproval rating in this thing. And I don't mean to be trivial. On my father's grave, what I'm about to say doesn't mean to be trivial, but it just goes to show where we could be, because we've only had 13 American lives lost. Now, that's 13 too many. I agree. But can you imagine, if it's 67% now, just imagine what it would be like if it's 30, 50, 100 soldiers killed in this conflict. Now you're at 75, 80%, and now you've got to cut and run. Now you've got to cut and run, or Republican support will start to drift off. And now in this impeachment era, that comes into play. I don't know. I really don't. Meantime, the president spoke to CNBC. Here's what Donald Trump had to say.
Well, I expect to be bombing because I think that's a better attitude to go in with, but we're ready to go. I mean, the military is raring to go.
That's what I've talked about. You got to play this thing straight. Is he really? Is he really ready to go? And the fact that they're raring to go, just his attitude, they're raring to go as if they're excited about starting up the war again. And he expects to be bombing, then why did you back up the deadline? I don't know. We will follow this thing for you. And it could be changing. Keep your eye out, Chris. It could be changing throughout the afternoon. We'll keep an eye on this. Let's go ahead and take our first break of the day. When we come back, Honor Flight 53 is, they're about to have dinner, actually. It's 6:15 in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and they have just wrapped up their long, long day that started literally 12 hours ago with breakfast at 6 o'clock sharp. Everybody on the bus by 7. You're at the World War II Memorial by 7:30. After a quick jaunt through the District of Columbia, which is a tour within itself, if you've got a good bus driver or a good guardian who will grab the mic and kind of walk you through some of the structures that you see when you go through the district. And tonight is a big night for the veterans as well. They will be honored at dinner, each and every veteran. Their bios will be read. They'll receive a flag. I'm assuming it'll probably, I know it'll either be Congressman Fogg or Congressman Valadeo or both. There was a third cat that joined us on the last one on 52. I can't remember his name, but it'll be one of those two or both. And they provide the veterans with a flag that actually waved over the Capitol. It is a great night for these guys. And then tomorrow it's wrapped up. They fly out of Baltimore, so they'll have one quick stop in D.C. Then they'll go to Fort McHenry, learn the story of the Star-Spangled Banner, fly out of Baltimore, and they'll be back about 6:30 tomorrow night. Hope you'll get out to Meadows Field and welcome them home. In the meantime, we've got to step aside. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Tuesday, right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 and streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio,
Casey.
KERN. First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Wednesday edition of the First Look program, we will talk a little medicine with our friend Dr. Vip Dev. John Cox from the California will be joining us to administer the news quiz. We will back all of that up with state-of-the-art news and traffic and, yes, weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Summer is coming up, and a lot of you will have folks from out of town, relatives visiting, and there are just some things that you must see if you're visiting the city of Bakersfield. And one of them is the best steakhouse in Kern County, and that's KC Steakhouse. So if you've got relatives coming into town, make sure you take them to F Street and give them the KC experience. And make sure you go next door as well to the Stockyard, the Speakeasy-like bar. Make sure it's a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night, because there's live music in the Stockyard on those nights. And of course, Jimmy and Bobby are providing live music Tuesday through Saturday in the main restaurant. And even if your relatives aren't necessarily steak people, Chef Daniel has expanded the menu. There are all kind of different chicken dishes. I told you about the different fish dishes, the salmon, the halibut, the mahi-mahi. Where would you rather be? That's the place you have to show visitors of our community our great steakhouse, KC Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Look up in the sky. Yeah, that's what they cry. It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's them. It's Paul Sheldon's team, that well-oiled machine of Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. Okay, not superpowers, but still thousands of hours deciphering Medicare's whims, fighting the good fight, learning what works right. Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. So it might seem old-fashioned, but hard work with passion most often gives you the win. And the trio that knows are those Medicare pros, Christine, Kelly, and Lynn. You know, actually to many, they are superheroes. Christine, Kelly, and Lynn.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox.
You're just too good to be true. Can't take my eyes off of you. Pardon the way that I stare. There's nothing.
You guys want to hear a great story? You guys remember Helen Hunt? She starred in, I forget the name of the movie with Jack Nicholson. And she was in a sitcom with Paul Reiser. Give me a quick bio, Chris.
Working on that. As Good as It Gets.
As Good as It Gets. She won an Academy Award for it.
Mad About You.
Mad About You, a great series. They tried to do a reboot where they were like older. It didn't really work. Did you want to hear a great Helen Hunt story?
Sure.
Found this on Reels last night. In 1998, Helen Hunt won an Oscar for As Good as It Gets. In her speech, she thanked someone no one knew. Miss Eleanor, my childhood teacher years ago. In 1975, Eleanor helped Helen when she was a struggling dyslexic student. She gave her extra lessons instead of failing her. Because of this, and back in the 70s, we knew nothing of dyslexia. I have a cousin who was dyslexic, and his parents and all the teachers thought he was mentally slow, and he just had dyslexia. So we didn't know very much about it really until like the 80s, maybe even the 90s. She gave her extra lessons instead of failing her. Because of this, Eleanor lost her job. She lost her whole teaching career for one child. Helen never forgot her. When Helen won her Oscar, she received a $3 million bonus. She gave all the money to Miss Eleanor. Eleanor was working in a shop for 23 years. She started crying and said, "Helen, this is too much." Helen replied, "You lost your career for me. Now I'm giving you the career you deserve with that money." Eleanor opened a learning center for dyslexic children. It helped more than 2,000 kids. She died in 2019 at the age of 87. It's a great story, and it just underscores why I said what I said yesterday, that I just really don't like Donald Trump. And I also added that if he ran again and he ran against, there's no Democrat that I could find that I would vote for against Donald Trump, as much as I don't like the man. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, he made fun. And I'm no Gavin Newsom fan, and this is no defense of Gavin Newsom by any means. And Newsom was lying. That's what he should have said. When Newsom said, "I can't read a speech," shut up. Shut up. And remember that was in context with, he was talking to a bunch of black folks. He was trying to be the common man. He was trying to say, "I'm no better than you." And he even talked about his SAT scores. I thought I was the only grown-ass adult that remembered their damn SAT scores. But he was like, "I was a 920, which is well below the national average." So he was like proud that he was an idiot. But then Trump, he talked about his dyslexia, and then Trump said, "I don't want a leader who's dyslexic," as if it's like a malady or something that you should be ashamed of or something. I don't know. Anyway, Sheila Phyllis McCormick, now former U.S. Congresswoman. They were about to have the vote. I swear it's a true story. Go look it up. Go look it up. I don't make this stuff up. They were going to have the vote to expel her at 2 o'clock. What time do you think she'd quit? 1:56. She quit, what was that, 240 seconds before they were going to throw her out of Congress? So now what's the count? Where are we at 7, 8? No, we're at 3. Swalwell, Gonzalez, and now this broad. And Corey Mills is sitting somewhere with his fingers so tight you couldn't get a pin up that son of a gun's butt. Are you kidding me? Because he's next, Jack. He's got a bunch of sexual misconduct, and the ethics committee is looking at it. And the Republicans this morning, I heard Mike Johnson, the speaker, walking through the rotunda saying that, well, we'll wait for the ethics committee. But yeah, he's toast. He's toast. It's just incredible. And now the majority in the House is down to 1. And now we're waiting tonight for what's going to happen in Virginia. Kathy talked about it yesterday, that this redistricting is basically, to make it simple, it's going to turn a purple state, meaning there are more independents than there are Democrats or Republicans, but it's going to turn a purple state into a very blue state, where it's like 6-5 Democrats, it's going to be like 10-1. And yes, that's going to, and it happens before November, so it's going to flip the script in the House long before the midterms. This is a bad time for the Republicans. It really is. Beyond the gubernatorial race, which we'll talk about a little bit later, which I think there is some good news, although Xavier Becerra, it's going to be tough. He's going to be tough. He got the endorsement of the California Assembly today, the leader of the Assembly, and he went from 3 to 12. When Swalwell left, I was wrong. The political guru, yes, I admitted I was wrong. I thought that Swalwell's voters would go to Steyer and maybe Porter. Maybe that's Kathy's influence on me, because I don't think Katie Porter is a very good candidate. I don't think she's likable. I don't think she can win. I don't think there's any chance she's going to win. We're still crossing our fingers that there could be two Republicans at the top, Bianco and Hilton, but it's starting to look like Xavier Becerra. But don't forget, well, again, we'll talk about this later, there is a gargantuan debate tomorrow night on KGT at 7 o'clock, and it has the top five. Steyer, Tom Steyer, the guy with all the money, the two Republicans, Bianco and Hilton, Xavier Becerra, and Matt Mahan, who's at 5%. He snuck in there along with Porter. So it's going to be interesting. It could be make or break. And I just hope that Hilton and Bianco are smart enough not to attack one another and realize who is the rising candidate. And it's Xavier Becerra. And the both of them should go after him, because the Democrats have to go after him as well. So that should be the focus. Clayton Campbell joins us next.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
News. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. President Trump says the United States is indefinitely extending its ceasefire with Iran at Pakistan's request, as he waits for a unified proposal from the Islamic Republic.
I might have to retire.
The announcement came as last-minute ceasefire talks between the U.S.
and now I broke her head.
Uncertain, and the two-week truce was
it chipped off. It fell and it chipped
Florida's
off. So now it doesn't even.
Has opened an investigation.
I can't just like
OpenAI's
place it back on. You know what I'm saying?
Probe announced
like
Tuesday
right there,
examines the AI
so it doesn't fit
interactions
like
with a gunman charged with a fatal shooting at Florida State University last year. Attorney General James Uthmire says prosecutors are using chat logs between ChatGPT and the gunman Phoenix Eichner. They aim to determine if the app aided or abetted the crime. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 293 points. This is SLN News.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. On a vote of the Delaney City Council, the name Cesar Chavez is coming off of Cesar Chavez Park, which will be Ellington Park, and Cesar Chavez Lane. His face is coming off of murals at the Ellington Community Center and the downtown breezeway. The FBI says property theft and damage crimes have come down about 40% in Bakersfield since 2020. Bakersfield now reports that police and city leaders intend to study those stats rather than taking them at face value to see why those crimes have come down. Gas has inched back up a couple of cents in the past couple of days. The average price is now $5.81 in California, says Gas Buddy. The least expensive in Bakersfield is hanging at $4.99 at a station on Edison Highway. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
When the dollar's convertibility into gold ended in 1971, gold was fixed at $35 an ounce. Fast forward to today, and the U.S. dollar has lost over 85% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold has increased in value by over 12,000%. Central banks are buying gold at record levels. Major firms are holding significant positions in gold. And I choose to buy gold from Birch Gold Group. Stan Bongino, and it all starts with education. Birch Gold just announced their Learn and Earn Precious Metals event. This free online event rewards you for learning the basics of investing in precious metals. Sign up to get free silver on your next purchase if you qualify. And you can get even larger incentives as you go. The more you learn,
I was going to go there today because of the rain, but now it's like a
special event only runs through April 30th. So text my name Dan to the number 989898 to join Birch Gold's Learn and Earn Precious Metals event by April 30th.
It does.
Dan to
because part of the reason I go on is I get some steps in too.
First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9
p.m. And it's just such a
On the Wednesday
variety.
edition of the First Look program,
Like
we will
last
talk a
night,
little
they had
medicine with our
ribs.
friend Dr. Vip Dev. John
Like,
Cox
it's-
from
I'm going to the
California
same
will be
place,
joining
but
us
we're not
to
having the same
administer
food,
news quiz.
because the
We will
buffet
back
changes
all
every
of that
day,
up with
but there's some
state-of-the-art
staples in
news
that pot,
and traffic
any
and
pasta,
guest weather.
pesto sauce.
It's all happening 6 to 9
You know, man,
a.m.
what's
right here.
it
News
called?
Talk
It's
96.1
I'm having
AM
that every
1230
fucking
KERN.
little baby peas in it.
Talk
And it comes
96.1
cold.
AM
I warm it up at the house.
KERN. Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR
What's
Show,
really going on?
starting at 1 p.m.
I'm
Now,
well,
back
sir.
to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Do you know about this
Talk
Don Ricketts
96.1.
thing?
I just threw it on.
You know,
Honestly, I forget what song we used to do for Clayton.
what was your song?
Lawyers, Guns, and Money by Warren Zevon.
That's right.
That's a good choice. That's a good choice. Clayton Campbell, noted defense attorney, sitting in for Teresa Goldner, who is still bouncing around in New York. Have you ever been to Japan or China?
I have not.
Hong Kong?
It would be fun to go. I'd love to go to a baseball game in Japan.
Wouldn't that be
That
cool?
would be awesome. Or South Korea.
Yeah.
But the Japanese style of baseball is a little
So different.
but it looks like so much fun. Though.
Yeah.
And it's
so
a very, very high level of baseball.
It is. It is. I mean, they are coming.
Oh, yeah.
It's
I mean,
like
Ohtani,
1947.
best baseball player in the world is
Yeah.
a Japanese player.
And look at that, what impact it has on our ball club. Roki Sasaki, Yamamoto. I think Yamamoto, other than maybe Skeens, is the best pitcher in the National League.
It's hard to be better than Skeens.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing.
Exactly. Anything you want to talk about before we get into the subject that I suggested, Mr. Patel, and really more about defamation and how difficult it is to prove that as a celebrity, as the head of the
Public figure.
Yeah.
It is interesting to look at the jurisprudence on defamation. If you go back to the founding, defamation law was really a state by state thing. Now, most of it followed the English common law. And in fact, under the old system, the common law system, you were held to more account if you defamed a public official than a private individual, because they had a public reputation, there was
Right.
more damage. And so in the American system, we value free speech, we value debate, we value criticism, or the right to criticize our leaders, right? Now, with that should come the responsibility to be truthful and to refrain from, the vitriolic personal attacks that have always been part of our politics. I mean,
Right.
Look back at the Adams versus Jefferson election. What was it, the 1804 election? Some of the worst defamation ever between these two campaigns against each other.
Yeah.
And you look at the political cartoons and the things that they said about Abraham Lincoln, and they called him what they called the noble ape. So they
Yeah,
called Lincoln.
yeah. And
Yeah.
Andrew Jackson's campaign, they talked about his wife, and didn't he cane a guy to death who talked about his wife?
Well, he challenged people to duels. I don't think.
Oh yeah,
caned
he shot a guy.
There was
I know he killed a guy in a duel.
There was a senator who beat up another senator with a cane in the Senate chamber.
Really?
Yeah, it was over the issue of abolition. It was a Southern slaveholder who beat this guy up, and the guy never recovered. I mean, he was permanently disabled after that, and the Senate expelled the assailant. I can't remember his name, but they expelled him from the Senate, and then the state legislature of his state chose him and sent him right back.
Really?
Back to the Senate, yeah. So there was no accountability there. It took the Civil War to settle that issue.
Yeah, no
but
kidding.
that was I think that's who you're thinking of. But Jackson did challenge people to a duel. His wife, that was a weird situation because
Yeah.
her divorce from her first husband had never really been finalized.
Right.
And then she married Jackson in another state, and so people were making a big deal. Oh, she's a bigamist.
Mhm.
Technically, that was true, although Jackson thought that it was her marriage had legally been terminated. It's really
Well, they called her a lot worse than that.
Oh yeah, yes, but there are those were the you go after a man's wife on,
Yeah.
on issues of chastity. That's
Yeah.
them's fighting words as
Exactly.
so you can't
Or
really
shooting
blame him.
words back then.
Yeah, you can't blame him for
No,
for
not
wanting
at
to
all.
take it out on somebody. But as the time has passed, we eventually had in 1964 the Supreme Court in a case called New York Times versus Sullivan.
Yep.
Laid down the law on the modern rule that we apply. And they kind of just made this up out of the air. They just kind of created this rule because they wanted to favor political speech. They wanted to protect newspapers, in this case, the New York Times. And they wanted to,
and this was involved with the civil rights movement.
It was, yes, but they wanted to protect the right of the media to negatively cover public officials, even in cases where they get things wrong.
Right.
And so they protected them, and so they said that in order for at the time it was a public official. There was a later case that expanded that to public figures, so you don't have to be an official, but you could be like an actor or Elon Musk, somebody like that,
right.
who's a famous billionaire. Any public figure or even an organization that's public in a public advocacy group, for example, the standard they would have to show in order to prevail in a defamation suit is not only that there was a false and defamatory statement made against them to damage them. That's what a normal person would have to prove against a normal person.
Right.
But in order to prove it against the media, you'd have to show that there what the court called actual malice.
Right.
And that's a two-part test there, or there's two different ways to show that. One would be to show that they knew that it was false,
reckless disregard,
or reckless disregard for the truth.
Yeah.
So they just didn't even care. They went on the flimsy. Now we see that all the time, and this is an area where Clarence Thomas and other conservative jurists have opined that we should probably revisit the issue, because in the modern media world where we have these vast, I wouldn't call them. It was almost like a vast cartel of media people who echo the talking points of the Democratic Party, for example, that you would have this, or you have the right-leaning media that says their piece and almost in unison, and you have almost this organized campaign of talking points that are often proved to be completely false. And so you have like Joe Biden and his administration, they all complained about misinformation and disinformation, and of course, to a political person, disinformation is information that you don't like,
right?
Right. And they wanted to empower the government to restrict people's ability to speak. But that's not the same as saying, well, if you can prove in court that this is false information, you can be awarded damages, right? That's defamation law, as opposed to just reporting a rumor as true. For example, whatever you want to say about the effectiveness of the COVID vaccine or other medications for COVID. That's really where a lot of this debate came up over misinformation and disinformation. And so, there are things that were said that were, remember Biden famously claiming if you took the vaccine, you can't get COVID, you won't die from COVID. And that just turned out to not be true.
Even what's his name? Fauci said that.
Yeah. But that there's misinformation or disinformation. Yeah. So however effective the vaccine was or wasn't, those statements are definitely false. There were people who had the vaccine who died from COVID. And there were people that got COVID anyway. And so it just wasn't true. But they were talking about disinformation and misinformation with respect to going contrary to the government's narrative. That's not the same as defamation. Defamation is you say something false, damaging to the reputation of a person or an organization that can be demonstrated, proved in court that it's false. And so the media has been given protection, or anybody who slanders a public official is given protection if it's a public person that they're defaming. And so what Justice Thomas has criticized is this almost impunity. You can lie deliberately about people with impunity. It's very difficult to prove the actual malice that the court requires. And so we see it in our politics all the time, and it's kind of frustrating. I mean, should we reward that? Should we allow?
Is that true though? You can actually lie. You could knowingly lie. That's not a disregard.
Well, how do you prove that somebody knew that it was false? There's no disincentive. So you look at the incentive.
Well, the classic case, and I'm sure Chris studied it as well in common law, is Carol Burnett versus the National Enquirer, where Carol Burnett went and had dinner at a Washington restaurant. She said hello to Henry Kissinger and she left. And the National Enquirer wrote a story that she was drunk as a skunk, sat on Henry Kissinger's lap, and made an absolute fool of herself. And all of her people told her, this is like in the 70s and the 80s when she was at her top in her Saturday night show, and her people told her, don't do this because the bar is so high. And she said, screw it, I'm doing it. And they proved that they absolutely ignored sources that said it wasn't true and just have absolute disregard for the truth. And she won. And it was like the first time, because you know, the National Enquirer probably has more attorneys than any news organization.
And more defamatory stories. Yeah.
Yes, than anybody in the country. So it was like the first time that anybody had won with the National Enquirer. And that's what they proved, that they disregarded sources that said, no, that's not what happened.
Well, there was a recent case where there was a Christian ministry somewhere in the South that the Southern Poverty Law Center called them a hate group because of their views on gay marriage. And so
they just found out about this.
Well, as a consequence of that, they were excluded from Amazon's charity program. So, right, there's a program with Amazon where you can sign up as a charity, and if somebody can buy their products through Amazon, if they log in into the right login, they can actually designate a portion of that purchase going to the charity of their choice. Well, you're not qualified for that charity or to be on that list if you're on the SPLC's list of hate groups, and they indiscriminately apply that term to anybody that just politically disagrees with them. And this is they sued SPLC over this for defamation, and went all the way to they lost on New York Times versus Sullivan grounds. It went to they appealed to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court denied review, and Clarence Thomas put in his dissent to that, or he basically was encouraging his colleagues, hey, we need to revisit New York Times versus Sullivan because this is getting out of hand, where you can lie almost with impunity about, you can smear people and then you can hide behind the First Amendment. And that's not what the First Amendment is intended for. It's not intended to protect liars.
I agree.
It's like due process is not intended to protect criminals. It's intended to protect innocent people.
Yeah.
And sometimes people that are actually guilty get away with a crime because the due process protections err on the side of innocence. And the same thing, when you look at the First Amendment, it's supposed to protect legitimate speech. It's not supposed to protect lies and scams. If I lie to you and get you to buy a bridge that I don't own, I can't hide behind the First Amendment and say, oh, well, I have a right, I have free speech right. I can say whatever I want. That's fraud. So there should be limitations on it, and what those limits are, I'm probably not well versed enough to articulate what they should be, but it shouldn't just be a blank check to smear anybody you want to smear just because they're political opponents.
Is there a chance they would review New York versus Sullivan?
I think so, yes.
You do?
Yeah, that's one of those kind of modern invented doctrines that has no place. If you're an originalist or a textualist, and like I'd say 5 of our 9 justices are,
particularly the new ones.
Yeah, all 3 of the new ones, and definitely Thomas and Alito, and Roberts to a certain extent. Then you look at the First Amendment and you say, well, this is that's not what that meant when they wrote the First Amendment. When it was ratified, it didn't mean defamation with impunity. So that probably is something that should be revisited. Although it is very difficult when you have a very well established rule that's been the rule for a long time. They're not anxious to go back and revisit those things.
Clayton Campbell is our guest, noted defense attorney and St. Louis Cardinal fan. Do you see we're wearing red sleeves? It's the new guys, Chris. They did it again last night.
They really?
2 of the new guys are wearing red sleeves. I'm not happy with that, Clayton. Dodger colors are blue and white.
Well, the Dodgers always have
be like you guys wearing blue sleeves.
The Dodgers always have the red uniform number.
I've been oblivious to that because I noticed it on the away uniforms and I thought that was new.
No, it's always been.
It's always been like that, and I didn't even notice.
A little bit of red, white, and blue there. I don't see. I guess that's why they're getting the red sleeve. But these guys wear whatever sleeves they want, like the bright yellow or the optic green.
I don't like
whatever it is.
I don't like it. What about Kash Patel's case? He's suing The Atlantic, a reputable magazine, despite what one of our listeners said yesterday, $250 million for a story that said that with 24 sources claiming that he had an issue with excessive drinking at White House events. There was an incident where a member of his security detail tried to wake him up and couldn't wake him up. And he's swearing that he's going to sue him for $250 million.
Well, he's already filed a lawsuit. Those stories are probably fake, too. I mean, we see the stuff about anybody associated with the Trump administration gets immediately blasted. Now, some of it's legit, some of it isn't. But this is
you think 24 people are lying?
I don't know that there are 24 people. But by the way,
that's what they say. So they've got 24 sources.
Well, look at all the people that lied about the Trump-Russia thing. There's still people out there that believe that. That whole thing was completely debunked. It was totally ridiculous. And there are people that believe it because, we have all these witnesses. All they did is they recycled rumors and all this hearsay. In court, you have to actually lay it out. So I'm curious to see if Patel is right. If he says, prove this in court, you got to, I can show you that it's false.
You don't believe it?
Well, I'm skeptical. Just because you can't believe anything that you read in these.
The Atlantic? You don't think the Atlantic is a reputable magazine?
These smears against administration officials. This is just, I'm just very skeptical. I don't believe anything I read anymore. I got to see the evidence first. And that's why I'm glad he filed a lawsuit, because let's see what they've got. Let's see what let's get it in court.
Well, they're never gonna give up their sources, but I think some people might come forward.
Well, what's going to happen? The trick in defamation is the plaintiff has the burden of proof. So Patel has to prove that the statements are false.
Right.
So it's hard to prove something's false. So what he's going to have to do is nail down in discovery the time and date and place of these alleged incidents so that we know what we're talking about. And then he'll have to have witnesses, like Carol Burnett had witnesses that she didn't sit on Henry Kissinger's lap.
Right.
And she wasn't drunk. And
Yeah.
and so that he's going to have to do that. He'll have to establish witnesses. And I'd be surprised if these events are not under video surveillance that he would have access to as the director of the FBI.
Yeah, because they said they happen in the White House.
Yeah, so let's get the evidence. And if it turns out that this is just completely false, and what I read is that the FBI notified the Atlantic before they went to publication with this. This is all false. We're warning you now. This is all false, and we can prove it's false. Don't publish this, or we'll sue. And they published it anyway. So they probably get those kind of threats all the time, being in the media, especially when they're exposing, some, public official in there, something that's embarrassing, right? But I want to see the evidence before I pass judgment on this. I'm just really skeptical of these kind of things on either side of the aisle. When you see these public, like that, when they overnight snapped their fingers and canceled Cesar Chavez, I had some questions. This great hero of the left. And then overnight, all of a sudden, we went from, we're going to name H Street after him, to all the schools in California that are named after him are renamed, tearing down his statues. He's a terrible villain rapist that everybody knew, but nobody knew. And so I immediately had some questions about that too. I mean,
really?
Oh yeah. No, look, does it surprise me when stories come out about people? No, but I'm just real skeptical when we have a sudden reversal like that. And like the Eric Swalwell, they threw him under the bus. I don't have any doubts about that one. That's kind of apparently an open secret. But what I want to know is, why did it take him running for governor for him to get canceled when, we knew about him sleeping with a Chinese spy and all this stuff? But what I'm saying is that whenever you have like a big sudden reversal or a sudden smear of somebody, they're totally destroyed in the media. You got to wonder, like, why did that suddenly happen? Did they not know about this before? Did they wait till now? Like, why did the media suddenly have courage to go after somebody who's a revered public figure? I'm talking about Chavez again. So that I want to know, like, why? Why did we go from?
So you think Dolores Huerta's lying?
Why
I don't
know.
Why in the world would a woman in her 90s destroy the legacy of this guy and join in and make up such an incredible lie, which isn't very flattering to her? She married his brother, which the part of this story, the Cesar Chavez story that I don't understand, is how everybody is like anointing her like the heir apparent, or that she's so brave and blah, 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 blah. She had 2 children with this man that she didn't raise. And then she went and married his brother. She was at a wedding where her rapist was standing there, probably his best man. That's the part that I don't understand.
Well,
but I don't think there's any question that it's almost like deathbed testimony. Really, you think a 90-year-old woman would lie?
Why was her foundation 5 seconds ago lobbying the city council to change H Street and to go to this great expense to rename H Street after him? That was her foundation that was pushing for that.
It was.
Why?
She was the biggest.
So why would they do that? Why has she never said anything about this ever before? So I don't know, and I'm not accusing her of lying.
So what would be her motivation to lie?
Well, I understand she's being sued by somebody else in the organization that claims that they were sexually abused by Chavez, and that her organization covered it up because it was convenient for them politically for him to be this great labor hero. So that could be a motive. I don't know. My concern.
But wouldn't that still make Cesar Chavez a criminal?
Maybe. I don't know. I'd like to see the evidence. But what I'm just saying that, like, as eager as we are to celebrate the downfall of a political rival or a person who maybe undeservedly is a hero of the other side, you just have to wonder, why did we go from just such a swift reversal where we've named schools and libraries and courthouses and streets after this guy? We got statues of him all over California as this great hero, and all of it at the behest of the people who are now accusing him. Why would they spend decades making?
Well, the same reason most African Americans lent a blind eye to the fact that Dr. King was sleeping with his parishioners. I grew up knowing that, hearing my father, a Morehouse man, talk about it with his brother, his friends, his pals. They knew that King plagiarized some work at Boston University. They knew that he was sleeping with parishioners. Black folks lent a little blind eye to that because they didn't want to destroy the legacy of Dr. King and perhaps even the legacy of the civil rights movement.
Well, you don't want to damage the cause that he stood for.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying,
and that's what Dolores Huertas said. She thought that the movement was bigger than even this criminal act. I don't necessarily agree with that. I wouldn't handle it like that. I certainly hope my sister or my daughter wouldn't handle it like that. That's why I keep saying I don't understand why they've kind of anointed her a hero after all this, when her behavior in all of it is absolutely peculiar.
Well, covering
to
for
say
it,
the least.
If she did cover for it, cover it up, keep it a secret. How many more victims did he have if it's all true? That,
oh, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I'm
That's
sure
the
there are
thing.
more.
You let a guy get
oh,
away
I'm
with
sure
something.
there are more. It's who they are. But getting back to defamation, coming from a journalist and knowing the obstacles you have to go over to get a story like that out, and the process that goes on, particularly at a huge organization like the Atlantic, I find it extremely hard to believe because they cover their behind. The lawyers overlook it, the editors overlook it. You got to tell your editor, you don't have to tell the public, but you got to tell your editors who your sources are. You can't run a story and just tell your editors, I got anonymous sources. No, they need to know who it is. They're not going to reveal it. They'll all go to jail before they'll reveal it. But you just don't report and say, hey, I've got 24 people that are saying this about Kash Patel. You've got to put it forward to your editors. Your editors have to put it forward to your lawyers. Your lawyers have to look at other lawyers. I mean, it is a big process to publish such a damaging story like this. It's not, you kind of make it sound like it's willy-nilly.
Well, no, what I'm suggesting, though, is that those lawyers also are relying on the fact that they have this almost impunity to say whatever they want, whether it's true or not. And then, so when you go to the lawyers, they're looking, can we win a lawsuit? Can we win it on First Amendment?
Oh, you couldn't be more wrong, Clayton. They don't, you really think they want a lawsuit? And they're just getting ready. Let's get ready. And we know we're wrong, but we'll fight it in court. They don't want to spend that money in court.
Why do you run it past the lawyers?
So make sure that it meets the level of not.
No, but no lawyer can tell you
defamation.
No lawyer can tell you you're not going to get sued. But
True.
But they
can tell you whether you're going to win.
They're weighing whether they're going to win or not.
Yeah.
And part of that math is how easy it is to win those cases, even when you lie. So, or even when you republish lies that were told to you and you recklessly republish them. So,
not for major organizations like that, because it ruins your reputation. Winning is not necessarily a win if they can prove that you lied.
Does it really ruin their reputation? I mean, look at the history of the last 10 years, what the media has done. And they're still in business. They're still making billions of dollars. They still got all these people hanging on their every word. All it's done is really kind of sorted out the populace as to which news organizations we listen to. It hasn't damaged the reputation of NBC or MSNBC or CNN that they just are the Democrat Party's propaganda wing.
But nobody's watching. Sure, it has. Nobody's watching. CNN's not making any money. Nobody's watching CNN. That's why Fox is doing so well, because Fox
has almost a monopoly on their side of the aisle.
True.
Where you have competition on the left. But I am just very skeptical of whether these organizations really have learned their lesson about misinformation or defamation.
You're a fan of Kash Patel?
Not exactly. I mean, my misgivings about him are more in the presentation style, kind of like with Pete Hegseth. I feel like they're a bit more. Nobody can duplicate Trump's I don't care what you think attitude.
Bravado.
But everybody tries to.
Yes.
And that's why you see these other politicians who try to mimic him. It falls
with the
flat.
cursing and the
and it's on both sides. You see people on both parties who think, well, I'll be like Trump because people like that. Well, no, nobody else.
It's Trump. It's Trump.
Somehow he can get away with it when other people can't. And the same thing goes for his surrogates in these different offices. And, I understand why he wanted to make changes and get people that weren't career Washington, D.C. people out of those offices. So let's just put it this way. I've been rooting for both Patel and for Hegseth, but I wouldn't say that I'm like that they would have been my choices for those jobs.
Yeah. I think he's a short timer. I think he's not going to last but a couple of months. I really do. I think they're going to get rid of him. I think that this, because Trump doesn't drink. And part of the story in the Atlantic is that whole hockey incident did not go well with the boss. He did not like that because, his brother died, as I mentioned yesterday, from alcohol-related diseases, and he's never had a drop of alcohol in his life. And the rumor is there was one point where he thought he was getting fired. Did you read that?
I did not. But I'll tell you what, if it is true, Trump knows it.
Yeah.
And so you're right. It will be the end of it.
Yeah. Clayton Campbell, everybody. Appreciate you taking the time to come in and fill in for Teresa.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. Quick time out. Head into the 4 o'clock hour. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Tuesday. Still got lots to do. We'll get into the new poll that came out in the gubernatorial race where the two Republicans remain atop of the leaderboard, but Xavier Becerra is making a very, very strong move. He got a significant endorsement today. And we'll also get into the situation with the Fairfax School District. And Shannon Grove is in Sacramento. We'll explain when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Thank you, sir. That was great. That was really good.
Current Radio, AM 1230, KER.
I know. That was good.
Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
And the two women are Bakersfield women, that started the whole thing.
Results from the Virginia redistricting battle should be coming in momentarily.
Yeah, I think I hear what you're saying. I think there was the timing is what I'm.
Says the vote to redraw U.S. House districts in Virginia could be in response
exactly.
to Trump
But the motive,
Republicans to redistrict ahead of the November election.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. All right, man. Thanks again. Appreciate it. All right, man. You too.
House majority.
I'm wondering if maybe it's just because.
Oh, is it really?
I really think that. And I realize, I don't think we'll ever have a president that will please everybody. You've got the two parties. Everybody has their own ideas and so forth.
The redistricting would change the Virginia congressional delegation from 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans to 10 Democrats and 1 Republican. Florida Democrat Representative Sheila Sherflewis McCormick resigned Tuesday afternoon amid allegations of financial misconduct. It could have led to her expulsion later in the week.
The announcement came just moments before the House Ethics Committee was scheduled to meet to weigh potential penalties for the embattled Florida Democrat, who's facing federal charges over allegations of stealing millions of dollars from the Federal Emergency Management Agency to help fund her congressional campaign. Sherflewis McCormick has maintained her innocence, but in a statement Tuesday, she said the ethics investigation, quote, was not a fair process and threatened to disadvantage her defense in the criminal case. Republican Corey Mills, also of Florida, also faces an ethics committee hearing that could result in expulsion this week. Bernie Bennett in Washington.
On Wall Street, the Dow down by 293 points. The NASDAQ dropped 144. The S&P 500 lower by 45. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Health insurance rates are surging in America, leaving millions without affordable options. If you're sick of having paychecks eaten up by healthcare costs or dealing with mega corporations, then listen to this. Christians don't need to waste money on a broken system. That's why I want to tell you about Christian Healthcare Ministries. It's an alternative to traditional health insurance at half the cost. With CHM, fellow believers contribute monthly to help pay each other's medical bills. There's no enrollment period, so you can join anytime, and you aren't restricted to provider networks, so you choose the doctors and hospitals you want. It's that simple. CHM is not insurance. It's a ministry that puts faith into action. Feel the difference of financial support and biblical care from fellow believers. Join CHM today by visiting chministries.org/wellness. That's chministries.org/wellness.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
A 20-year-old sexual abuse lawsuit settled. I'm Chris Davis. That suit was against the Fairfax School District for abuse that was said to have happened in 2006 by former Fairfax middle school teacher and vice principal Donald Ricketts. The person whose attorneys brought the suit was 11 at the time. The settlement is for $5 million, some of which will be paid by the school district and some by the Assembly of God Church, where Ricketts held a position. The name Cesar Chavez is being removed from more places in Delano. On a vote of the city council there, with some discussion, the council agreed that Cesar Chavez Park will be renamed Ellington Park, and Cesar Chavez Lane will be just Chavez Lane. Murals depicting Chavez's face will be changed at both the Ellington Community Center and the downtown breezeway. Property theft and destruction crimes have come down in Bakersfield, says the FBI. In recent statistics they've released, they say that those crimes dropped about 40% between 2020 and 2024, which is the latest year that data is available. Bakersfield now reports that some business owners don't quite see it that way, and that police say they will be looking into the data to study why those crimes went down. If you've never been on an honor flight, volunteering gives you a chance to not only go to D.C. and see some of the monuments to veterans and people who gave their lives for this country, but also to help veterans who have never had the chance to go and see in person those memorials themselves. About 100 veterans and volunteers got to do that on a day trip Monday, thanks to people raising money locally for that all-expense-paid trip. Gas has come up a couple of cents in the past couple of days, now $5.81 on average across California. The cheapest in the Bakersfield area, still $4.99 out on Edison Highway. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
To the rest, well, in a month from now, this Hollywood big shot's gonna give you what you want. Too late. They start shooting in a week. I'm gonna make them an offer again with you.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Tuesday, 21st day of April. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 and streaming live at KERNradio.com. I want to thank Clayton Campbell for filling in for Teresa Golder. And I'm told that tomorrow you'll be filling in for Mr. Flores as well. He's a good guy. It gave me a lot to think about. But defamation and New York versus Sullivan is a very slippery slope. And I'll give you an example that most journalists study. And it's the story of Ben Bradley. Before he became the editor of the Washington Post, he became famous because he was the editor during the era of Watergate and Woodward and Bernstein. And as a young reporter, he tells this story, or Redford tells the story in All the President's Men, because Redford helped put the film together. But Ben Bradley was played by, look up Jason Robards. Jason Robards played Ben Bradley. And he's Ben Bradley, the editor. And he's telling the story, this is in the book as well, and it's a true story, of him as a young reporter covering the White House for the Washington Post. And he got a tip from Bill Moyers, who some of you older folks may remember from PBS. Moyers was part of the Johnson administration before he got into television and got into news. And he got a tip that Lyndon Johnson was going to fire J. Edgar Hoover. And so the Post ran with the story, and Johnson had a news conference the very next day, and he appointed J. Edgar Hoover FBI director for life. And Bradley had totally gotten the story wrong. Now, this is why it's a slippery slope, because if we do re-examine New York versus Sullivan and we do lower the bar, J. Edgar Hoover could have sued Ben Bradley for defamation. You told all of DC and essentially the world that I was losing my job. In fact, the president has made me FBI director till I die. In fact, when Ralph Bailey talks about me in 2026, my name will still be on the FBI building in Washington, D.C. Honor Flight 53 will drive by my building. You see what I'm getting at? If you lower the bar and a source lies to you or misdirects you, I haven't given you the joke, the punchline of the story. So Bradley finishes the story by saying, after the news conference, all the reporters were like, damn, Ben. And Bill Moyers comes and gives Bradley a note, and it's from Johnson that says, F you, Ben, where he probably was going to fire him, but then found out that Bradley was going to report it, and he appointed him for life. So was he lying? Was Ben Bradley lying? Was he defaming J. Edgar Hoover, or did he just get it wrong? And that's the problem. If you lower the bar, now you're opening up reporters who simply get it wrong. Reporters get it wrong sometimes. But again, as a former reporter, and I'd love to get a journalism professor in here to talk about it, because it is an interesting discussion, because there is some protection for lying. He's right. He's absolutely right on a certain level. But there is a reason, because should you be culpable if you're repeating a lie? Well, knowingly, yes. But if sources lie to you, that's why I believe the Kash Patel story. Because not to believe it is to think that 24 people got together and have a similar story about Kash Patel. The likelihood of that, you have to admit, is remote. These are people that he works with. I don't care if they despise him. You really honestly believe that a group of federal employees got together and said, you know what? We're so tired of Kash Patel that we're going to throw away our integrity. We're going to create a lie about this guy who's a teetotaler who has maybe one or two cocktails, and we're going to create the fantasy that he's a drunk. That's pretty difficult to lie about. Because if they're saying that he's an excessive drinker at White House events and that people in his detail have to wake him up that he's so drunk, that's pretty damn hard to hide. That's not like having a secret like drug problem that you can't hide. You can go in the bathroom and do some coke. Nobody knows the difference if you wipe your nose and can act straight. But being a drunkard, that is really difficult to hide. Particularly given the nature of the story, which was that these events were happening at White House official events. And the part about, the title of the story is the FBI director is MIA. That's the title of the story. So his attendance record is public record. They couldn't make that up. Why is he missing so much work? Where is the FBI director? But I agreed with a lot of what Clayton said, but there was a lot I would push back on in terms of lowering that bar. And I hear what Clarence Thomas is saying as well, but that is a slippery, slippery slope. And I'm going to study. I can't. You remember New York versus Sullivan? You were in college a lot sooner than I was. I don't remember. It had something to do with let's look it up. It had something to do with, it was going on in Alabama. And it happened to do with an election where they described something that occurred and it was completely misdescribed. Hey Siri, show me New York versus Sullivan. No. Hey, Siri, show me the Supreme Court case, New York versus Sullivan. Yeah, but I want to read it.
Okay, I found this on the web for no. Hey Siri, show me the Supreme Court case, New York versus Sullivan.
Can you believe she... That was funny how she repeated exactly what I said. Okay, let me just read you the case. In 1960, the New York Times ran a full-page advertisement paid for by civil rights activists. The ad openly criticized the police department in the city of Montgomery, Alabama, for its treatment of civil rights protesters. Most of the descriptions, see, my collegiate memory isn't that bad. Most of the descriptions in the ad were accurate, but some of the statements were false. The police commissioner, L.B. Sullivan, hence the case, Sullivan version, took offense to the ad and sued the New York Times in an Alabama court. Sullivan argued that the ad had damaged his reputation and that he had been libeled. The Alabama court ruled in favor of Sullivan, finding that the newspaper ad falsely represented the police department and Sullivan. After losing an appeal in the Supreme Court of Alabama, the New York Times took its case to the United States Supreme Court, arguing that the ad was not meant to hurt Sullivan's reputation and was protected under the First Amendment. The decision from the Supreme Court said unanimously ruled in favor of the newspaper. The court said the right to publish all statements is protected under the First Amendment. The court also said in order to prove libel, a public official must show that what was said against them was made with actual malice, quote, that is with knowledge that it was false or with reckless disregard for the truth. So that's the threshold, that you have to know what you're saying is not true. You have to know that it's a lie. And that's how Carol Burnett won, because the National Enquirer absolutely ignored sources that told them this isn't true. Now, Clayton is saying that the FBI warned him off the Atlantic, that the story was not true. But again, this isn't the type of thing that I think you can just make up. You can't make a drunk out of a sober guy. You know what I'm saying? Out of just the word of a couple of people. I think this is probably the worst kept secret in the White House. And I think my proof will only come with his dismissal, because Clayton's right. If this is true, if this story is true, his days are numbered. And as I said yesterday, I believe that. I think Kash Patel is on his way out. I really do. I don't think a guy that doesn't drink, namely the president, is going to put up with an FBI director who's drunk all the time. And now maybe if you can keep it a secret, he's willing to keep you around, because he's already lost a number of people. He lost the labor secretary had to quit today. So now he's lost 3 women out of his administration. Kristi Noem, the puppy shooter, Pam Bondi, the file is on my desk, and this woman, the labor secretary, oh, please tell me I wrote her name down, Lori Chavez DeRemer, who resigned under sex charges with a subordinate. And once again, remember that day where we had a whole day of sex, where I said, take the kids out the car because we're talking about sex today. And the theme was, isn't it amazing what men will do despite their careers? And I'm learning now it's an equal world out there. It really is, because Kristi Noem was having an affair with Corey Lewandowski, apparently, allegedly. And now this Secretary of Labor, you're telling me you get to the White House? You get to be a part of a presidential administration, and sex is still a priority in your life? And I'm a dirty old man, believe me. I really am. Nobody loves sex more than Ralph Bailey, but I can't imagine working in Washington and having the honor to work for the President of the United States and having any other priority in my life other than my family, other than the White House. But you get in there and you get comfortable and you think you're cool, and now all of a sudden sex becomes a priority? And with a subordinate, again, it's like we talk about with powerful people, it's got to be somebody close. The labor secretary can't be seen at Bennigan's Tavern having cocktails with some dude. You know what I'm saying? It's got to be somebody close. And it ends up being a subordinate, somebody you deal with every day. You know what it's like to work with people. I see Chris Burdick more than I see anybody else in my life. You know what I'm saying? What is it? About 4 hours a day, 5 days a week? That's 20 hours a day. There's nobody in my life right now I'm spending 20 hours a week with. I'm getting there. We're starting to get the plane off the tarmac. In fact, this could be a big weekend for the kids, as a matter of fact.
Stop your conversation short.
It's a good idea. Let's go to break. It's a very good idea, Chris. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's called tackling the host. That's what that's called.
I want you eventually one of these days for these planes not to crash. Just one.
Not likely, my friend. Not likely. I don't know how to fly a plane.
Oh,
I can get it off the air. I'm like that guy. It's a special on Hulu now. The guy that stole the plane and never flown a plane before. You haven't seen this? Yeah, a guy stole a plane. He had never flown before. He'd read about it on Google. Stole a plane. They've got all the communication where he's like, "Did you steal this plane, sir?" And he goes, "Yeah, kinda."
Kinda.
And he goes, "Well, you need to bring it down, sir." He goes, "Oh, I am, but I'm going to do some things." He does like a loop. Dude, you got to go look on Hulu. It is incredible. And I don't get Hulu, so I don't know. I haven't seen the story, but I've read about it. And I don't know whether he landed the plane or not. I don't think he did. I think that's the tragedy of the whole story. But like that guy, I can get the plane off the tarmac. I can get us to 35,000 feet. But then that's when turbulence hits and I can't get the landing gear down and I don't know how to land the damn thing and we crash and we burn. What are you going to do? Or my co-pilot ejects, leaves me in the plane by my damn self. It's one of the two. Either I crash the damn thing or she parachutes out. What are you going to do? Quick time. I'm coming right back. We'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. Talk about Shannon Grove and SB 1373. You'll hear from Robert Scrivener, one of the Scrivener's 4 children, again, going to Sacramento and testifying, telling his tragic story. Get into the Fairfax School District and settlement they made with victims of a man by the name of Donald Ricketts. That's all coming up on the Ralph Bailey Show, right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at kernradio.com.
Kern Radio.
Messmaker.
Right.
Step into the spotlight at the all-new and always thrilling Hard Rock Casino Tejon, just 15 miles south of Bakersfield. Play your favorites across over 2,000 slot machines, plus baccarat, blackjack, roulette, and craps. And with Unity, whatever you do, you get rewarded. Play here and redeem at other Hard Rock properties. Enjoy live entertainment, exceptional dining, and energy only Hard Rock can deliver. Hard Rock Casino Tejon. It all happens here. Must be 21 or older. Concerned about your gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Every Thursday at 4:30, Daniel Petrie lightens up the broadcast with his incredible wit, pure intelligence, political knowledge, and obviously an absolute master of economics. That's why he's such an important cog on this broadcast. And you can hear him even on some of his off days when there are financial movements that we can't explain. We lean on my man from Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. And of course, you know what they're all about. They're all about retirement. I've turned at least 3 or 4 different people on to Messmaker Petrie Wealth Advisors, and they could not be happier. You could be happy as well with your situation in terms of the fourth quarter in your life if you call 395-9400, 395-9400, the offices of Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice or a solicitation for advisory services by Daniel Petrie or MPWA Incorporated, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. The program host is a client and receives compensation and other financial benefits in connection with this advertisement, creating a conflict of interest. Experiences discussed may not be representative of other clients.
Gas costs more. Groceries cost more. And Sacramento keeps making decisions like Kern County doesn't exist. Andre Gonzalez isn't waiting around for someone else to fix it. Born and raised right here in Bakersfield, Andre Gonzalez has spent his career delivering for this community. He created a community land trust so working families can actually afford to own a home. He's fought to make sure Kern County gets its fair share from Sacramento to fix roads and build water infrastructure, not just the scraps LA and the Bay Area leave behind. Andre Gonzalez is backed by California's firefighters, classroom teachers, and he is the only candidate endorsed by the California Democratic Party. Join them. Vote for Andre Gonzalez for State Assembly on or before June 2nd. Ad paid for by California Credit Union League Political Action Committee, not authorized by a candidate or a committee controlled by a candidate.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox.
Well, I'm your Venus.
I'm your fire with your desire. 842-5376, 842-KERN. What do you got on the board?
Ralph, the Kern High School district is corrupt. When a teacher gets caught, they just move them to another school. It happens all the time.
Yes, it does. I absolutely agree. And this Don Ricketts case, it's an old case. But when you look what was happening, even at a church, they just kind of passed it along and settled the case and made it go away. It just, like I said, we talk a great game about protecting our children, but do we really? In fact, Donald Rodriguez, I didn't get that bite, but I got another bite. But one of the questions that he asked, he's a local defense attorney or a personal injury attorney, and he's handling this case and got a settlement out of the school district. But he asks, do we really go after, it's one thing to go after Ricketts, the guy who pleaded no contest back in, I think, 2013 and got 3 years. 3 years for having sex with an 11-year-old. But do we really take care of our children? Do we really? Shouldn't we go after the Fairfax School District? Like, no one there is being held accountable. And this guy's activities weren't a secret. He had situations as an Arvin cop. And according to Rodriguez, he quit before he got whacked. It's crazy. Problems at a church, they settle that. It's who they are. They don't change. They do not change. Bill Cosby could not change. Michael Jackson could not change. These people don't change who they are. It's how they get off. And what do you think they're going to do? Not have sexual experiences? What do you do if the only way you can get off, have an orgasm, is if the person is knocked out? You know what you do? You knock people out, or you don't have sex. And if your thing is children and you're so demented, that's your sex life. And you're not just going to stop having sex. And the only way we are going to stop that is to make the people that pass these people along, like you're alluding to, and hold them accountable. The people at that church should be held accountable. You shouldn't just be able to settle a case and make it disappear. Somebody should have to answer. Somebody at that church, what is it, the Fairfax Assembly of God Church, should have to answer to this. People in the Arvin Police Department, although I don't know what they could have done because he quit before they were able to do anything to him. But certainly somebody at the Fairfax School District should be held accountable, where they just pass these guys along. It's much like, the Catholic Church, to be honest with you. And what they were doing right around the turn of the century, where they were just passing, they'd find out about a priest and they would just pass him along to another parish. What else you got?
Were the 12 anonymous from the Atlantic?
24. 24. What do you mean, were they from the Atlantic?
I'm not sure. That's all they said.
No, they were with the administration. There were sources within the administration. Go get the Atlantic. I'm not sure if you have to subscribe to it to read the article, but I think if you Google the story, you can click within the story and they will click you to the Atlantic and you can read the story in its entirety. But it was 24 sources. They were I just don't think there is a desire to lie in the media. I think there is a propensity to repeat common stories, and I think that's how Russiagate got going. I think that it was coming from reputable people, and they just perpetuated a lie. Now, did they knowingly perpetuate a lie? That's where the re-examination of New York versus Sullivan comes in. I bet Clayton would argue, yes, they did knowingly perpetuate the lie. How do you prove that? Is the issue. We'll head into the back half of the hour. There is yet another gubernatorial poll here in the great state of California, and new information, a new twist, a development, as I want to say, in this wacky race, in this about 27 hours before a big debate tomorrow night, where at least 5 of the candidates will be going at it tomorrow night. We'll preview that when we come back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show. I would stick around if you.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
News. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Early results coming in from the Virginia redistricting battle show a very tight race, with yes votes leading at the present time by percentage points. The ballot measure was crafted by Democrats to offset redistricting battles in places like Texas and Missouri that favored Republicans. A federal appeals court rules that Texas can require the Ten Commandments to be displayed in classrooms, allowing posters of the religious doctrine to go up throughout the state. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals said in the decision Tuesday that the law did not violate either the Establishment Clause or the Free Exercise Clause of the First Amendment. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 293 points, the NASDAQ dropped 144. More details at srnnews.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN. Headlines from the KERN Newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. A lawsuit that has been in court for years against the Fairfax School District that says they didn't do enough to stop sexual abuse by former Fairfax Middle School teacher and vice principal Donald Ricketts has been settled for $5 million. The person who says the abuse happened was 11 at the time, back in 2006. The name Cesar Chavez is coming off more places. In Delano, on a Monday vote of the city council there, now Cesar Chavez Park would be renamed Ellington Park, and Cesar Chavez Lane will be just Chavez Lane. Murals depicting Chavez's face will be changed at both the Ellington Community Center and the downtown Breezeway. Gas has come up a couple of cents in the past couple of days, now $5.81 on average across California. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Maybe you haven't heard about us. We're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless has you paying for more data than you might need. Why? They might want you to cover the costs of younger people who do use all that data. If you're not using the data, you're probably being used. We've heard time and time again that some big wireless customers get stuck paying hundreds and even thousands more for years and years because they think it's hard to switch. Not with us. It takes just about 20 minutes and you can change your plan anytime without extra charges. We use the same towers as the big guys, so you'll get the same fast nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill.
Our plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
First Look with Scott Cox, mornings 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Wednesday edition of the First Look program, we will talk a little medicine with our friend Dr. Vip Dev. John Cox from the Californian will be joining us to administer the news quiz. We will back all of that up with state-of-the-art news and traffic and, yes, weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
That's Miller would take me walking. I threw the backyard, we don't walk. Then you look into my eyes.
I don't know why I'm embarrassed by the fact that I'm starting to eat at Lawson's like every single night. At least every weeknight.
You do take the creature of habit thing to a whole different
I really do. I really do. But see, it is a creature of habit, but yet it's like, for example, like I always talk about, I like to do the same thing every day, but not the same thing every day.
True.
Meaning on Mondays, I like to do the same thing that I do on Mondays. And on Tuesdays, I like to do the same thing I do on Tuesdays. And they're different, believe it or not. Because Mondays are really busy because I'm going over all the things that I've saved from Saturday and Sunday. Monday's my worst day getting ready for the show because I'm looking at stuff that I saved from Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, Saturday day. Got to talk about my golf. Got to talk about whatever social event went on. And now I got somebody in my life right now, kind of, sort of, not really. Okay, so, but it's different each day. And the thing about Lawson's is they have a buffet and it's different every day. And it's organic and it's really good for me. But what's killing me is it's like going into Trader Joe's. I can't go into Trader Joe's. I used to live on Westfield, which is right across the street. It's behind Fragotti's, where like now, there's one cat in Lawson's. It's like, hi, Ralph, because you have to give a phone number. And for every purchase you get, they give you like 50 cents or something. I think in like the last 2 weeks, I'm up to like $3. So when I get to, in like a week or two, I'll be at like $10 and I'll have like a $5 meal or something. But anyway, but yeah, it's like Trader Joe's. I can't go into Trader Joe's. And I used to go in there 3 or 4 days a week when I lived across the street on Westfield without spending $50. This is a true story. I was on our way. Roxanne and I were on our way to a Chili Verde cook-off. It was a great party. Susie Clausen, who used to be a sales manager at Buckley Radio, and Danielle Buckley, who used to work here. It was at her house, and it was a contest. We all made Chili Verde, and it was going to be a contest. And I'm still bitter about it because ours was the only one that was completely eaten, but yet we didn't win. That make any sense? That make any sense? Everybody ate our Chili Verde with our little crock pot that we made empty, and yet we were second. That makes no sense. When the number one people had food to take home, nobody ate theirs.
That was gonna be my next question: is how much did the other people bring?
We all did it in like crock pots. Yeah. Full. Ours was completely empty. We didn't have to clean it. We just put it back on the cupboard. They scraped the bowl on ours. We finished second. Aren't I weird? This is 23 years ago and I'm still bitter. Anyway, it was even longer than that, actually. It was in the 20th century. But the point is, we were stopping at Trader Joe's. I was literally double parked in the red in front of Trader Joe's. Roxanne was the passenger seat, ran inside to get some chips for our Chili Verde. Ended up spending $44. I saw the chips. I saw the shrimp Louis salad. That salad they have with the egg and the 2 pieces of shrimp, and I got one of those. And there's the 2 frozen quiches. Oh, I got to get the frozen quiches. I got a couple of frozen quiches, and next thing you know, you walk out of there $4 or $5. And it's the same thing at Lawson's. It's the same thing. I walk in there and I go to the buffet, and then I look over, and the fruit are like, Ralph. They have beautiful vegetables and fruit. I get bananas. I get oranges. I get their avocado. Their avocados kind of suck. Their avocados are kind of small, so I'm stopped getting the avocados. And then I get my cranberry juice from there. Now, why do I have such a sad look on my face? I want you to take a bottle of cranberry juice. It's $5.89 at Arco and Ramco. How much do you think cranberry juice?
Dang, it's $5.80.
Yeah.
That's pretty
what do you think? What do you think it is at Lawson's?
$6.50. No.
$11.98.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. What?
$12. I swear to God, I'll bring it.
$12.
I just bought a
cranberry juice.
I just bought one last night. I'll bring you the receipt. It's $12. Now it's a cranberry blend, which I love. It's like a raspberry cranberry, which makes the vodka get right up on its feet. And my dinner's averages, and I don't know how they do the buffet. Does anybody know how they do the buffet? Because it's $12, but I think it's based on weight. Because I just bring it up there, and they're like, that'll be just for my food. And then you throw in the $12 for the juice and thing of bananas, and I get some chips or some low salt popcorn. I'm $40 in. $40 in. It's horrible. What are you going to do? 842-5376, 842-KERN. And I'm a liar. I'm a liar, y'all.
Why for this time?
Well, what did I say I wanted out of my golf game? All I wanted out of my golf game. Just one simple thing. What did I want?
Shoot under 90.
That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. I threw up an 88 with Mr. Turnip Seed on Saturday. Threw up an 89 on Sunday with Mark Swaim and the boys. And I'm more miserable than I've ever been. Because here's the deal. If Chris came out and watched me play for 6 holes, he would say, damn, Ralph is such BS. He's a pretty good player. But then if you watch me for another 6 holes, you'd say, yeah, that's not a bad bogey. Yeah. But here comes the problem. If you watched me for another 6 holes, you would think, when did this guy start playing? Last week? That's the thing that I can't get over. That I just do things that you can't do after playing golf for decades. I couldn't even say it. Decades. I've been playing this damn game. I come off 13, the third hardest hole. Have I talked about this week?
I don't believe so.
I'm talking about with you guys. I don't think I
come
off 13. It's the third hardest hole, of course, at Sundale Country Club. And I made the best birdie I've made in a long time. My drives are 215, so I got 190 to the pin. And I took out a 5 wood and carved it over the trap, knocked it within 4 feet. And knocked it as pure. As soon as it left the club, I knew it was in, made birdie. Now I'm going to an easy par 5. And it's kind of a distance at Sundale from the green to the tee. So I walk, try to get some steps in. And I swear every step I took, I said, I'm about to go birdie, birdie. I'm about to go birdie, birdie. And I could not have placed my drive any more in the center of the fairway. And I could not have hit my 3 wood any better. I've got 100 yards to the pin. I've got 100 yards, the length of a football field. I've got a pitching wedge in my hand. And I'm like, it's only a matter, am I going to have a long birdie putt or can I get it tight? And I come over the top, I put it in the bunker, and I make 7. From 100 yards, I could not hit a green. That is, after decades of playing golf, that can't happen. It just can't happen. On 18, I hit a decent drive. I had a pretty good 3 wood. I had 144 yards. I should have hit a 7-iron, but I thought I was back to where I used to be. So I hit 8. And I tried to step on it, And I came out of it, rolled it in the lake, made 7. That I topped it because I was trying to hit it. So I was trying to step on a little bit and rolled it in the lake. That can't happen. How can you hit a 5 with 190 yards within 4 feet, but you can't hit an 8 iron 140 yards? Just carry the damn water, Ralph. Don't get it tight. Just carry the water. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to bother you with this nonsense and stupidity. I couldn't be more frustrated. So I lied. All I wanted was an 88 or an 80. No, I just want to play to my potential. That's all. Let's re-alter my golf desires. I want to play up to my potential. And I'm not that good. I'm old. I can't hit the ball as far as I once did. I'm never going to be good. I'm going to miss greens.
Mid-80s is respectable, though.
It is respectable, but when you know it should be, mid-80s instead of high 80s, and I missed some putts that I shouldn't be missing, and I don't know, it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating as hell. The one thing that you love that you used to be good at or decent at, respectable, I found some Zucchini and I he would always want to keep the card, so I would take a photograph of the card. And I was going through my photographs. I do this every now and again. Well, do you ever do that? Just roam through your photographs, old photographs? I was doing it really to monitor because I got I'm seeing my dermatologist Thursday, get this acorn taken off my head. And I was trying to monitor the growth. And I was going back and I was looking at some old pictures and I was looking at some old scorecards where I beat Zucchini one weekend, he beat me the next weekend. It was never more than 2 or 3 strokes. And I just yearn for those days. And I'm close. I'm so close. 88, 89, 4 or 5 strokes. That's an 83, 82, and that's respectable. I don't know. Anything on the board before we get to the break?
I got a caller for you.
Who you got?
Daily Dave.
Dave, what's really going on?
Hey, Ralph.
Yes, sir.
That's good, Daily Dave. That's golf. Come on.
No. It's not golf when you're rolling the golf ball, Dave. That's just stupid and lack of concentration or just I don't know what it is. I can't explain it.
We all dump it in the water. We all dump it in the water too, That happens.
No, guys that don't play. You roll the ball, Dave. When was the last time you rolled a golf ball? Come on, be honest.
All right.
Thank you.
And I don't play that much. You're right.
People don't roll the damn golf ball.
It sounds like you had it for a split second there, right? You had it.
I have moments of brilliance. I really do, but it's moments. It's never consistent.
Yeah.
And I get that. It's never going to be consistent. I'm never going to be a good golfer. I just want to be respectable. I just want to be able to, not do stupid things and make big numbers.
Yeah. That's the hardest part about golf. We think we have that shot. We know we have it, and then we don't.
Yeah.
And then the wheels fall off, and then you turn a possible birdie into a bogey or double bogey.
Oof.
I hear you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, how's your health? I haven't been able to hear the radio station. How you doing?
I'm good. We're monitoring my PSA. My urologist said I shouldn't have even had my MRI. But I'm going back in 4 months. And on Thursday, I'm seeing my dermatologist and having this bump removed off my forehead finally after about 5 years.
All right.
So yeah, I'm excited. I'm in pretty good shape. I've lost a little weight.
Good.
I was just trying to get my A1C down, and it's the first time in my life that I was not. Well, I wasn't really trying to lose weight initially when I had my blood pressure. I was just trying to stay alive, but I really wasn't trying to lose weight. I just wanted to get my A1C down, and so I stopped eating sandwiches because I didn't want to have any bread, and I stopped eating just anything with sugar in it. I wasn't even eating fruit, and I lost like 7-8 pounds. Wasn't even trying. I'm about 190 right now.
Well, good.
Yeah.
All right.
So things are going well.
Doing good. We'll get together before it gets too hot. I'll get out there. My hand's better. I can play, and then I try to listen to your show as much as possible. And we've had a lot going on, but glad to hear you're swinging the sticks.
Yeah. At least I'm getting out there. That's for sure.
And
I don't know.
Man, our Dodgers looked like King Kong yesterday.
Yeah, he did. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. We've got a problem. It's a great problem, but we have a problem.
Too many good players.
We do, because we've got to do something. We've got to do something with Dalton Rushing. He's hit 6 home runs in like 7 games, and he's not even starting every day. And last night he hit an opposite field home run.
Yeah,
he hit it to deep left field. He's obviously a left-handed hitter.
Yeah, I went pickleball yesterday. I go, what's going wrong with our Dodgers? We lost 2 games. And the girl goes, Mookie City, we're winning. TK City, we're winning.
Freddie's gone. Freddie's with his wife.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, you're right. We have all these great players that are sitting right now, and we're still, like at 700 balls. What a great problem there.
Yeah, it really is. All right, Dave, appreciate the call, man. Always good to hear from you.
Take care. You know what I say? See it high and let it fly.
That's right. Hey, Siri,
Bye.
Show me the Dodger roster. That's our man, Dave. Yeah, we got a big problem because, hey, Siri, show me the Dodger roster. They gave Kyle Tucker the night off last night. And I'm trying to find his name here before I get it wrong.
Kim?
No, Call. Is that his name?
Oh, yeah.
12.
Call.
Is it Alex Call?
Yeah, the outfielder.
He's hitting like 4. Hey, Siri, show me Alex Call's batting average.
I found this on the web.
No, Siri, show me Dodger Alex Call.
Hitting.
Thank you.
350.
You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying?
7 of 20.
You see what I'm saying?
That's pretty good.
And what's Kyle Tucker hitting? Like 240? You know what I'm saying? I think there's no way we can sit Tucker. There's no way.
Tucker's hitting 256. Much bigger sample size, though. He's had
True.
over 4 times the at-bat.
Yeah, true. But there's no way we can sit Tucker at $60 million per. There's no way.
Yeah.
But I could see, what do you call that? Platooning.
Yes.
Because Call is right-handed and Tucker is left-handed.
Yeah.
So I could see when we're facing left-handed pitching, they're going to play Call. And although I think they're going to give Tucker a better chance. But I'm telling you, we got to do something with our backup catcher. Because where do we put him? Will Smith just signed a 10-year contract. You going to move Freddie? You can't play him at third. I guess you could play him at third, but Muncy's hitting home runs. He's not hitting, but Muncy never hits, but he hits home runs. You can't stick him. There's no room in the outfield. Where are you going to put it? You're going to sit Teo? Teo's hitting over 300. There's just no room. But this kid's hit, 6 home runs in the last 7 or 8 games? You got to find a spot for this kid, man. All right, let's go take a break. We'll have a lot of time when we get back. We'll check the board, get into the 5 o'clock hour. We'll talk about Shannon Grove and what she was up to. You will hear from Robert Scrivener, one of the 4 Scrivener children. We'll delve into the Donald Ricketts case. The Fairfax School District has settled. Daniel Rodriguez is representing the victim in this case. We will hear from him as well. And we'll check the board, see what you all are talking about. I'll take a look at the chat room, see if anybody's saying anything in there. On a Tuesday. Big week this week. Big gubernatorial debate tomorrow. The NFL draft is on Thursday. That should be interesting. No chance. No chance, right?
They don't take him?
Please tell me. No chance.
There's no chance in him.
No chance.
They've already given him a playbook.
Okay, good.
Literally.
Good.
I'm not. That's not a joke. They literally gave him a playbook.
Okay, good. Good.
You might as well have bought in a house in Vegas and he's ready to go.
Can you imagine 22, 23 years old playing in the National Football League?
The number 1
multi-millionaire, number 1 pick.
Just won the national championship.
Just won the national championship for the first time in your university's history.
After transferring from Berkeley.
And now you're going to Vegas, living in Henderson, won't pay for a drink or a meal ever. Quick timeout, coming right back. It's TRBS. News Talk 96.1 AM 1230, streaming live at KernRadio.com.
Kern Radio.
Luigi's.
Ooh, Luigi's.
1230 KERN. Trucordia, a new name, but a trusted partner for Kern County businesses.
Also, Rushing has history playing first base and left field.
But that's why I said you can't move Freddie and you can't move Teo. I knew that. You can't sit Teo. What's Teo hitting?
For both businesses and individuals, supported by easy online tools and hands-on local service that makes everything simpler. For guidance,
270.
Tunes at
See, you can't move him.
661-401-2280. Trucordia, building trust.
Earlier, I was talking about Casey Steakhouse, and if you have relatives in town, that's where you got to take them, but you certainly have to take them for lunch. To Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen. I told you we had Nick Ragone out here years and years ago for a book signing, and we took him to Luigi's. Now, remember, Nick Ragone is from New York City, which most folks consider as the best Italian food in this country. And Nick Ragone is on record as saying that the pasta and the truffles and all the food that we had at Luigi's was the best Italian food he'd ever had in his life. That is a gargantuan endorsement from a New York guy who was born and raised in New York City. And, you know, what, as I always say, can I tell you about Luigi's that you don't already know? The Warehouse has been an absolute game changer for the family, and the food is the food, and it's just the place to be. And now it's just more and more generations going. It's just an incredible familial atmosphere at Luigi's Restaurant and Old World Delicatessen, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
Are gas prices the final straw to break the camel's back? Are you drowning in debt so that more gas means you can't pay for other essential stuff? Are you getting collection calls, emails, and texts on credit cards, medical debt, loans, buy now, pay later, and so forth? The attorneys at Clean Slate BK Group have a solution to make the nightmare go away. CSBK can stop the harassment, get rid of the balances, maybe even get your car payment reduced, and get you reset in the right financial direction for a fraction of the time and money of a debt settlement program. A Chapter 7 BK takes about 6 months, and at the end, the financial straws will be off your back. Log on to CSBK.com and read what real people just like you have to say about what CSBK has done for them. This is an attorney advertisement. Your results may vary, and prior results do not guarantee a similar outcome. Clean Slate BK Group PC, located at 7 Penn Plaza, Suite 601, New York 10001, is responsible for the content of this ad. For more information, visit CSBK.com. That's CSBK.com to end your financial nightmares.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $3 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Find the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief today for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
We've all been there, sleepless nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton, live at 9 a.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey.
Is most likely wrapping up the dinner, and I apologize. I should have told you guys that you go to YouTube and actually watch. They stream the honor dinner on the second night of the trip. There is a dinner for the veterans, as I said at the top of the show, where they're all honored. Their bios of their activities during the war, whatever it is read out loud, and either Vince Vaughn or David Valdeo or both will be there to welcome the guys and provide them with American flags that actually flew over the Capitol. And it's a great night. It's an emotional night. We tried once to broadcast inside the event and just didn't work out. You've got 168 people in that room, and you got waiters dropping glasses and silverware, and the thing. It just didn't work out. But it's a big night. It's one that they're not really prepared for. They're not really told about this. They're going to be featured, each individual, and some of the guys get up and speak and talk about their experiences. It's really a nice crescendo to a really, really busy day. This is the day for Honor Flight. That second day, the first day you get in, and it's just mostly travel. It's all travel. You get in around 6 o'clock. They get them to dinner and get them in bed because the day starts at 6 a.m. with breakfast. You're on the bus at 7, and you're at the World War II Memorial by 7:30. And they'll go all day. They visited today the World War II Memorial, and then you get back on the bus and you go over to the mall where you can hit a lot of memorials all in one swoop. You begin with the Korean War Memorial, then you walk over and you pass by Abe Lincoln. They try to tell you don't go see Abe. A lot of people will sneak up there, but you got to go over to the Vietnam Memorial. The reason they don't want you to stop is because they take pictures at the Vietnam Memorial. And we all go there, and everybody gets the opportunity to search for their colleagues that may have not come back. And then there's a massive picture that's taken. Many times Kevin was there with us, the former speaker, and Vince or David will be there, take pictures with the fellas. Then you get an opportunity to go visit Abe Lincoln. And then a lot of folks shoot over and go see Dr. King back on the bus. And you see the Air Force Memorial and then Arlington National Cemetery, which is just a mind-blowing experience. It really, truly is. The changing of the guard, the Women's Museum that's right there in Arlington as well. It's just, I'm telling you, I don't see how you guys don't do it. I really don't. $1,500, you're a guardian, you're helping out a veteran. I can't imagine having never experienced it. It really has changed my life. Final hour of the broadcast. Don't go anywhere.
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN, 96.1 FM, K241CI, Bakersfield, an American General Media Station.
Mercy.
Breaking news is how
Why do I feel
Town
so
Hall by
lazy?
Keith Peters in Washington. Results are coming in from the Virginia redistricting special election that show no votes leading at the present time by 53 to 47%, with a little over half of the votes counted. The ballot measure was crafted by Democrats to offset redistricting battles in places like Texas and Missouri that favored Republicans. The measure, if passed, would change the congressional makeup of the Virginia delegation from 6 Democrats and 5 Republicans to 10 Democrats and 1 Republican. President Trump has agreed to extend the ceasefire with Iran.
The president says the United States is extending the ceasefire at the request of Pakistani officials. He writes on social media that the U.S. military will not attack Iran as its leaders come up with a unified proposal to end the war. In the meantime, however, the president says the U.S. will continue its blockade of all Iranian ports. Greg Clugston, Washington.
The FAA says it plans to upgrade outdated air traffic and safety systems in just 3 years.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy gave an update after Congress approved $12.5 billion to get it started.
Our people deserve the most technologically advanced air traffic control system, and that's what we are going to deliver.
If it's successful, the overhaul would cut down on delays and cancellations and add more capacity, replacing aging radars, radios, and networks, while adding surface awareness systems at 200 airports.
It's a big project, and we're going to make sure that we keep the airspace safe as we do an incredible overhaul.
Jennifer King, Washington.
A federal appeals court rules that Texas can require the 10 Commandments to be displayed in public school classrooms, allowing posters of the religious doctrine to go up throughout the state. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 293 points. More at townhall.com.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I had a lot of credit card debt and it stressed me out. But what I thought was a solution turned out to be a problem. I kept hearing ads about debt settlement that seemed too good to be true. And actually, it was. When I called, they told me to stop paying my bills. That didn't sound right to me at all, so I hung up. Later, I found out that debt settlement is bad, real bad. Then I learned that there is a right way to pay off your credit cards. It's called a debt management program from the great team at Trinity. Trinity had a plan. In the end, I paid off my bills, I saved thousands, and I even improved my credit score.
If credit card debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
My name is Heather. Please forget debt settlement and remember Trinity Debt Management.
1-800-990-6976.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update.
A 20-year-old sexual abuse lawsuit settled. I'm Chris Davis. That suit was against the Fairfax School District for abuse that was said to have happened in 2006 by former Fairfax middle school teacher and vice principal Donald Ricketts. The person whose attorneys brought the suit was 11 at the time. The settlement is for $5 million, some of which will be paid by the school district and some by the Assembly of God Church, where Ricketts held a position. The name Cesar Chavez is being removed from more places in Delano. On a vote of the city council there, with some discussion, the council agreed that Cesar Chavez Park will be renamed Ellington Park, and Cesar Chavez Lane will be just Chavez Lane. Murals depicting Chavez's face will be changed at both the Ellington Community Center and the downtown breezeway. Property theft and destruction crimes have come down in Bakersfield, says the FBI. In recent statistics they've released, they say that those crimes dropped about 40% between 2020 and 2024, which is the latest year that data is available. Bakersfield now reports that some business owners don't quite see it that way, and that police say they will be looking into the data to study why those crimes went down. If you've never been on an honor flight, volunteering gives you a chance to not only go to D.C. and see some of the monuments to veterans and people who gave their lives for this country, but also to help veterans who have never had the chance to go and see in person those memorials themselves. About 100 veterans and volunteers got to do that on a day trip Monday, thanks to people raising money locally for that all-expense-paid trip. Gas has come up a couple of cents in the past couple of days, now $5.81 on average across California. The cheapest in the Bakersfield area, still $4.99 out on Edison Highway. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
To the rest of in a month from now, this Hollywood Big Shot's going to give you what you want. Too late. They start shooting in a week. I'm going to make them an offer again with you.
The Ralph Bailey Show. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. KERN.
And I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Tuesday, 21st day of April. It is the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. We're streaming live at KERNradio.com, and the Kern Radio studios are powered by Adaptive Networks for all your IT needs. Call the folks at Adaptive Networks at 661-241-0638 or hit them online at adaptive-net.com. And owner-operators Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne join us tomorrow at 3:30. Hope you'll be with us as well. And then we lose them as well. All of our regulars are taking vacations. Don't these people know they're not allowed to take vacations?
I'm pretty sure it's in the contract.
That's what I thought. Teresa Golder is gallivanting in the Orient. And I forget where the Van Alstynes are going. Let me double check here. Maybe she'll tell Jennifer's business. I don't think she told me where they're going, actually, but they'll be gone for a couple of weeks.
Must be nice.
I know. That's what I told Randy. I need a vacation. I'm not a staycation. All my recent vacations have been staying. I want to go somewhere. That's what the girl and I are talking about.
I'm taking a week off in July.
I take my week in August, you know. That's what I want to go right now. when the weather's really nice. But I don't like being around during my birthday. I don't know why.
I don't either. I like being out and about in the world on my birthday.
Yeah, me too. Last place I want to be is here.
Yeah. I mean, no disrespect to here. It's just if it's your birthday, you should be out doing something.
I absolutely agree. And you know what I want to do on my birthday?
Gamble?
Of course. What else? Hi, Ralph. They're going to Italy. Oh my God. So Golders in Japan, and they're going to Italy.
Must be nice.
Don't any of these people want to take me with them? Nope. I'd be the valet. I'd make all the dinner reservations. I'd handle the luggage.
You'd never see him.
Never see me. Never see me. But I'd have the bags ready. They'd be at the airport. I'd have your reservations. You just text me where you want to eat. In fact, I'd do the research. I'd find you great restaurants. Jennifer, if you're listening, what part of Italy y'all going to? Well, we'll find out tomorrow. Don't call. I will find out tomorrow. 842-5376, 842-KER. Anything left on the board?
Yes.
What do you got?
49 Hilarious chimed in.
Well, of course he has.
He said he was asked by Pakistan to extend the deadline due to the fact that no one knows is in charge of Iran.
Well, I think the IRGC is in charge of Iran right now. I don't know what that has to do with backing up the deadline. I think it's just all muddled, and nobody knows what's going on. Like I said at the top of the show, J.D. Vance was supposed to be on a plane this morning. He was spotted at the White House along with Marco Rubio and Jared Kushner and Witkoff and the whole team, the whole group was at the White House this morning. And I think they are beginning to understand that, and I think that's one of the reasons that the president tweeted out that time is on his side. No, it's really not. It's really, really not. And if you don't think he's aware that his disapproval rating is at 67%, that only 33% of you, and I guess most of that 33% is my audience, agrees with how this thing is being handled. He's getting, and now he's getting shot from within. He's fighting with Megyn Kelly. He's fighting with Joe Rogan. He's fighting with Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson went on the air yesterday. I almost got the audio, but I can't stand the man. But he went on the air yesterday on his podcast and said that he's ashamed that he ever voted for Trump. And, these people are all disingenuous. They really are, because he is just like J.D. Vance. Tucker Carlson is. They are both on record prior to becoming inside the Trump umbrella of saying that they flat out hate him. Kevin McCarthy is on record saying I can't stand the man. But politically, you get inside this umbrella, and as we were talking about with Clayton Campbell, who was with us earlier and is filling in for JR tomorrow, we've never seen ever, not Franklin Roosevelt, not Lyndon Johnson, not some of the most powerful, most intimidating and persuasive President Abraham Lincoln. We've never seen it before. The type of absolute power that Donald Trump has over the Republican Party, where Marco Rubio is another one. Remember, Marco Rubio ran against him and told him that he was declared he was a danger to democracy. And now you can't get his lips off of Donald Trump's ass. I mean, Pam Bondi is another great example. Pam Bondi was considered, and that's why I thought she was a great appointment. She was considered a very, very capable AG down in Florida. She gets with Trump and she loses her mind. These people absolutely lose their mind and are absolutely willing to almost come out of their skin of who they are for the adoration of Donald Trump. Have you noticed that whenever anyone in the administration or the cabinet speaks about anything, literally anything? Well, I want to talk about SB 1373. It's a bill that Shannon Grove has back in California we want to thank the president for his leadership in this thing, because had it not been for the president's leadership, Shannon Grove probably would have been motivated to get this bill up on its feet up there in California. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. If there is a cabinet member speaking about it, you're going to hear, and we want to thank the president for his leadership in this. Just pay attention. Pay attention. The next time there's either a cabinet meeting or a press conference with cabinet members there, it's almost like a script. It's really the most amazing thing. And I just hope I am long enough in the tooth that I get to see what post-Trump life looks like. Have you ever thought about that? What the Republican Party is going to look like? And Clayton made an absolute outstanding point where so many of these people are trying to beat Trump. That's part of the problem that I have with Hexit. Reciting Bible verses at the State Department, or excuse me, at the Pentagon, and the cursing and the bravado and blah, 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 blah. There's only one Trump. Only one guy can pull this off. The Democrats are trying to do the same thing. They're getting into they're cursing and the tough. You hear how King Jeffrey's got to fight. We got to fight. No, you don't. You don't have to fight. Don't you understand what your job is? You have to make my life better. That's your job. You have to do the things that make my life better that I'm incapable of doing, like keeping us safe from foreign adversaries and making life affordable for the common American citizen. But that's just not the priority. It really isn't. And that's why we have no trust in government, because it seems to me that the priority is just to beat the other guy, just to beat Trump. If Trump says the sky is blue, the sky is orange, and we can prove it. You know what I'm saying? And in the meantime, you know, these kids coming out of college, I mean, for a guy like me, I've lived my life. If I die tomorrow, I'll be a happy man. I've lived a great life. I had a childhood I wouldn't change for anyone. My journey through journalism and working at different newspapers and getting sacked and suddenly catapulting into television, which was never, ever on my bingo card, and then stumbling staggeringly, haphazardly into radio. And if I die tomorrow, that will be my legacy. They won't say weekend anchor Ralph Bailey died today. They're not going to say former Californian staff writer Ralph Bailey died today. They're going to say radio host Ralph Bailey died today. And that was certainly never, ever, never, ever, 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 ever in my plans of my future. But it's the kids that are coming up. It's the Burnetts in their generation, the kids that are in their 20s and their 30s that are going to be saddled with what kind of deficit? $45, $50 trillion? Will Social Security even be there for them? Hell, I'm on the verge of getting it, and I'm nervous. Will it be there in 5-7 years for me? But if you're 22, 25, good googly moogly, I feel bad for you. You almost have to become a doctor or a lawyer. It's tough, to tell a kid to be a teacher unless they want to go the administrative route. I don't know, maybe a cop, get a nice pension, maybe do the military. I don't know. It's tough coming out. These kids can't even afford a home. And how do you live in a big city? How in the world do you live in a big city 25, 30 years old? I don't know how I did it. Well, I know how I did it. I lived with my uncle rent-free, how I did it. And then I got on my own, and I still wasn't even on my own. I've always had a safety net. I was living in Beverly Hills for 3 years. It was in a complex that my dad's Navy buddy owned. And while they were paying, this is in the late 80s, everybody was paying, I think, like $900 for the apartments. I think I was paying $500. And I was struggling to pay that. I was working for Coast Media Newspapers, and I wasn't making the $250 a week I was making with the Sentinel, but I was making like 25, 30 grand. And I couldn't afford $900 a month had it not been for my dad's buddy. I don't know how people survive in Los Angeles coming out of college. I really don't. 842-5376, 842-KERN. One more. Let's take a break.
This one just says, that was a brutal double bogey, Ralph. 100 yards from the pin, hole in two. I would be furious. It would have taken me 2 holes to recover. Golf is the greatest game / sport of all time.
You don't think I know that? Randy, I had a dream last night. It's a true story. I had a dream. I dreamt about that hole. Just to give you some idea how it bothers me, I dreamt about that hole. I dreamt that I pulled it in the bunker and that I hold it from the bunker. That was my dream. So yeah, it's heavy on my mind. And it's weird that I knew that I was 100 yards out because Sundale is one of the few golf clubs. I don't know why they stopped doing this, but Sundale, and it may just be that hole because I have never seen it on any other hole, but Sundale still has those, the markers, the red markers. They used to have a red marker for the 100 yards. And what color was the 150? I think it was blue. No, the 200 was blue. And the 150, what color was the 150 markers, y'all? Back in the day when they used to have markers on golf courses. Because 200 was blue, 100 was red, and I cannot remember what the 150 marker was. And they used to always have, everybody used to have trees. Sundale still has 150 marker trees. But I was like damn near on the plate, on the red plate. That's how I know it was 100 yards. And I just flicked at a wedge and pulled it right in the damn trap. And then I don't know why I didn't just ask the fellas, could I rake the bunker? Because I was it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't even a golf shoe print. It was like a worker. It was like a shoe print. I was in the heel of I probably not why I flew it over the damn green. But if I had asked the fellas, hey, can I pick this up and rake it and put it back down? They all would have been like, of course you can. Don't even trip. And I didn't, and hit a 12-yard bunker shot, about 25 yards. I'm so bad. It's incredible. Let's go. I just had to jam it out, let it roll, just get it out and just let it roll. Have a little maybe 10-foot par putt, get out of there with a 6. No, I hit it about 25 yards over the other bunker. That was the other thing. I thought I was in the other bunker. I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. No, I flew that too. Caught nothing but ball. Nothing but ball. Oh, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I think rolling the 8-iron on 18 is much worse, though. Good googly, son. You can't even, nobody who's played golf as long as I should ever roll an iron. That's just lack of discipline, picking your head up because I'm trying to hit it so hard. And I can't get in my mind that I'm an old man and that I used to hit 8 irons 144, but I don't anymore. That's just the reality. I should have hit 7. And I could have hit a smooth shot. I would have kept my head down and I would have at least covered the freaking water, which was like, you know what the cover for the water was? It was probably 50 yards, maybe 60 yards. I couldn't even hit an 8-iron 60 yards. What are you going to do? Quick timeout, coming right back. TRBS. We'll get into ASB 1373. You'll hear from Robert Scribner. You need to hang on to this. It's a powerful bite we got from KGT 17. Christina Scribner, one of her 4 children who was devastated by that infamous night at Tehachapi, once again testified, trying to get 1373 over the goal line. You'll hear from the young man when we come back. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on a Tuesday, right here on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, where we're streaming live at KernRadio.com.
Kern Radio.
Big Mike. And then it's white. 150 was white.
Yep.
Book with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Wednesday edition of the First Look program, we will talk a little medicine with our friend Dr. Vip Dev. John Cox from the California will be joining us to administer the news quiz. We will back all of that up with state-of-the-art news and traffic and, yes, weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
You know, for over 25 years now, Mike Area of Big Mike's Raging Barbecue has been catering awesome barbecues to locals for all kinds of occasions. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a wedding or a luncheon or some kind of sporting event or a backyard get-together. You need to call Mike Area at 393-5507. Just let me go over some of the things that Mike serves. I've never really gone over his menu with him. He does Italian stuffed mushrooms for appetizers, teriyaki skewers with Thai pepper glaze, barbecue shrimp, bacon wrapped jalapeno shrimp, which is my absolute favorite. Some of his main menus, obviously tri-tip grilled chicken, barbecue pork chop, steaks, and he's big on quality beef. That's what he's really, really concerned with. He used to be a seller for Cisco, so he knows his beef and he knows his business. I told you he's a Garces kid, made it all the way to the National Football League, used to play with Bill Parcells, and the discipline and hard work it needed to go from Garces to the NFL, he's put into his business, and he is one of the best caterers in Kern County. Call him today for any event that you may have coming up at 393-5507. That's 393-5507. Big Mike's Raging Barbecue. Tell him Ralph Bailey told you all about it.
Hey, man, how's business going these days?
Oh, not that good. I'm really struggling to find qualified employees for my business.
Oh, really? Have you tried reaching out to Employers Training Resource? They understand that having the right staff can significantly impact your company.
Really? How can they assist me?
Well, they promoted my jobs, held the recruitment, and pre-screened my job applicants, and they even set up the interviews, all at no cost. And they even offer financial hiring incentives like on-the-job training.
Wow, that sounds great. How do I get this?
Simple. All you have to do is call Employers Training Resource at 661-325-HIRE. That's 661-325-4473. Or visit their website at employerstrainingresource.com.
This Workforce Innovation and Opportunity
Do you have any more text messages?
Program is funded by the U.S. Department of Labor's Employment and Training Administration. For full federal funding disclosure details, visit employerstrainingresource.com, www.federal-funding-disclosure. Auxiliary rates and services available on request.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore, and every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55, but unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Fees and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox.
I rode a tank, held a generous rank when the blitzkrieg raged and the fighting.
Great night for Dodger baseball. Dodgers are in San Francisco after getting a very weak split with the Colorado Rockies. That can't happen. That just can't happen. We are so much better. The Rockies suck. They are horrible. And I know the club, it feels good to get a win on that day you got to get on a plane. Makes it a much more pleasant plane ride to San Francisco, where we're taking on the god-awful, stinky, smelly, dope-smoking, PED taking, got a little boogity-boogity in them, donkey riding, kazoo playing, orange and black wearing Giants. But like I said, we got a problem. Look at Dalton Rushing's statistics. In 27 at-bats, he's got 7 home runs. And those are all in like the last 8 games. He's hitting .444. You just can't sit a guy who's hitting .444. Now, again, as Chris mentioned, and it's true, it's a tiny 27 at-bats. It's a tiny, tiny sample size. But what are you going to do, sit him? and not take advantage of the fact that right now he is the hottest hitter on the ball club. And I'm assuming he's playing first base tonight. I don't think Fred's back. Has he had the baby? If they had the baby, do you know?
I have not heard anything on that.
I haven't heard anything yesterday, and I listened to Kirsten. What's her name? Kirsten Kine.
Kirstie Alley. What?
Kirstie Alley, the late Kirstie Alley. Wow. Kirsten Watson, and she didn't mention it. She talked about Diaz in the pregame. He's going to be down, but apparently he'll be back for the playoffs. He's having surgery. He's got loose bone chips in his elbow, which is never a good thing after we just paid you a ton of money. That ain't good. But game starts tonight in about an hour and 15 minutes, which is absolutely perfect. I'll just be finishing my dinner and starting my THC evening when the game starts. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. What do you got? I don't want to get into Scrivener until after the break. What do you got?
A couple people texting in, letting you know that 150 is white.
Oh, that's right. God, how good. That's embarrassing. But we haven't had him for years. I'm assuming they still have him out of Kern River, but I haven't played Kern River in forever. And I saw the only one I saw was on the par 5 at Sundale. I've never seen him out there. And they don't have yard markers out of BCC any longer. And you know why, don't you? Why, Chris? Why do they remove all the markers?
People hitting them?
Everybody and their mama's got a rangefinder.
Oh, true.
In fact,
True that.
Sundale has brand new golf carts that have the rangefinders in the golf cart.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Oh, these new golf carts at Sundale they put some dough. These things are nice. Google it, moogly. Golf carts are nicer than any car I drove back in the day. I'll tell you that. But yeah, everybody and their mom. I'm like the only golfer who golfs on the regular that doesn't have a rangefinder. Everybody's got a rangefinder. In fact, Mark Swain has like 2. He's got all the toys. He's got the thing where it can tell you just all kind of statistics and all kind of different yardage from. How much yardage you have to the water, how much, it takes to carry the water, how much is it just the pin, etc. Quick timeout. We'll talk about SB 1373. You'll hear from one of the Scrivener children who are in Sacramento with Shannon Grove right after these important words.
Kern Radio. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
News. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Virginia voters are weighing in on a redistricting referendum that would change the Virginia congressional delegation from its current 6 Democrat, 5 Republican makeup to 10 Democrats and 1 Republican. Right now, the vote has tightened up with no votes leading by a 50 to 49% margin, with 75% of the vote counted. The election has national ramifications. A federal appeals court rules that Texas can require the 10 Commandments to be displayed in public school classrooms. The Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals said in a decision Tuesday that the law did not violate either the Establishment Clause or the Free Exercise Clause of the First Amendment. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 293 points. The Nasdaq dropped 144. More details at SRNnews.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN. Headlines from the KERN newsroom.
I'm Chris Davis. On a vote of the Delano City Council, the name Cesar Chavez is coming off of Cesar Chavez Park, which will be Ellington Park, and Cesar Chavez Lane. His face is coming off of murals at the Ellington Community Center and the downtown breezeway. The FBI says property theft and damage crimes have come down about 40% in Bakersfield since 2020. Bakersfield now reports that police and city leaders intend to study those stats rather than taking them at face value to see why those crimes have come down. Gas has inched back up a couple of cents in the past couple of days. The average price is now $5.81 in California, says Gas Buddy. The least expensive in Bakersfield is hanging at $4.99 at a station on Edison Highway. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Are you looking for a hospital that truly cares for your health and well-being? At Good Samaritan Hospital, they provide high-quality medical detox, psychiatric services, and medical and surgical care. They accept most insurances, including Medi-Cal, Medicare, and Kern Family. They offer Kern County's longest-standing inpatient detox program with dual diagnosis that combines medical care and withdrawal management all under one roof. Learn more at GoodSamaritanHospital.com or call 661-215-7500. Good Samaritan Hospital. They care for their community.
Is the volatility of the stock market driving you crazy? Is your retirement account sinking, yet you're getting older and you're starting to worry about, will I have enough for retirement? What about the money in the bank? These banks pay nothing these days. How do we get growth to get to retirement account? It's simple. Move into gold and silver. Want to know how to do it?
Like this.
Listen to my show.
Like this.
Striking Gold with me.
And how often do they
break in? First Look with Scott Cox, morning 6 to 9
every
a.m.
10, 15 minutes?
On the Wednesday edition of the First Look program, we will talk a little medicine with our friend Dr. Vic Dev. John Cox from the California will be joining us to administer the news quiz. We will back all of that up with state-of-the-art news and traffic and, yes, weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 AM 1230 KERN.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
Hey, it's JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, starting at 1 p.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
2:30, 3 o'clock, yes?
Maybe twice. 4 times an hour. Oh.
Do I do? Oh, sounds like you. Do I do? Love with you. Woo! Want to hear the 50 best-selling artists of all time?
All time.
Of all time.
Okay.
So start with number 1.
The Beatles?
That's what prompted the idea. Very nicely deduced. Yes, the Beatles. I was kind of surprised at that.
I mean, you were just talking about it like a week ago, but they were huge.
They were gargantuan. And
if,
for a very long
Yoko didn't come into the picture and ruin all of it, they might have gotten even bigger.
Who do you think's number 2?
Elvis.
Damn, how'd you get that?
Again, popularity-wise.
Yeah, but I would have gone with Michael.
Yeah, no, he's up there on the list as well.
Who's third?
If it's not Michael, I'd say Prince.
Michael.
Okay.
And then it gets weird. It really does, in my opinion, because Prince. You mentioned Prince.
Mm-hmm.
Prince
probably not even in the top 20.
40th.
Think about it.
40th.
40. Yeah,
that's crazy. You want to hear who's ahead of Prince? Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran
is ahead of Prince. Aerosmith, Barbra Streisand, Neil Diamond, Fleetwood Mac, Bob Dylan, Katy Perry.
No.
Yes. According to this thing. Yes.
Ed Sheeran and Katy Perry should not be ahead of Prince.
That's what I'm saying. He is sandwiched between Ed Sheeran at 39 and Cher at 41. It goes Beatles, Elvis Presley, Michael Jackson, and then it gets kind of weird.
How is this based, though? Is this based on album
Based
sales?
on certified global album and single sales.
Who's still selling singles, though?
True. But it goes Beatles, Elvis, Michael, Elton John, 4.
Okay.
And then it gets weird.
Huh?
You tell me if this seems weird to you.
Uh-huh.
Madonna's 5.
A little high, but okay.
Led Zeppelin is 6.
Oh, that's on brand.
You think Led Zeppelin is the second greatest band ever?
No, but my thing is that it's the popularity thing.
Yeah.
It's just that there is an allure to Led Zeppelin.
It's true. Bands. When I was in high school, there was not one white kid that wasn't listening to Led Zeppelin.
And that's my thing, is that like they had this just aura about them that they were rock and roll for a long time.
I am what do I call myself? I am an omnivore when it comes to music.
Yeah.
I eat up everything.
Yeah, same.
But hard rock like that, and especially heavy metal, I never got into this like da-da-da, da-da-da, da-da-da.
I
Because,
think
you know,
I got
back in
one or
those
two.
days, I was normally in the backseat of a car, high as a kite, and I just didn't do it for me. It just.
I love Led Zeppelin. I think I got one song that you will enjoy, and I'll play.
I think there is one song that I did enjoy.
You've heard
the song. Oh, I've
you've
heard all.
Stairway, obviously.
Oh, of course. I think that's it.
A Lot of Love.
A Lot of Love.
Now the one you're obviously playing is the Immigrant Song everybody knows because it's used in every damn sports movie. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's Kashmir. I'm sorry, that's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
What
were you about to play? Let me hear it.
Wait, I'm sorry, which one?
I don't know. You said you were going to play something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for right now. I'm trying to find a clean version.
All right. But after Led Zeppelin, this is the one that freaks me out. Who? It's a current pop star.
Okay.
Who is
really?
It's the other hottie.
Ariana?
Rihanna, yeah.
Rihanna.
Okay.
We're talking Ariana.
Oh, no, Rihanna. Rihanna's 7th. Taylor Swift is 10th. She trails Pink Floyd and Eminem. That is shocking to me. Eminem has sold more albums than Taylor Swift. That can't be. I don't believe that. I absolutely don't believe that. Yeah, look for a current list. This list must be old. I got this off the damn internet. That I refuse to believe that. I refuse to believe that Eminem has sold more albums than Taylor Swift. I'm sorry. And I'm not even a Taylor Swift fan. I'm not saying this as a fan. I'm just saying this is someone who is.
Wow, they both have 12 too. Because I was like, maybe Eminem has just more albums, but no, they have the same
amount of albums.
The same amount of albums.
And what's the sales?
Let's see, because Taylor's got. That's not even counting Taylor's like different versions, like the Taylor versions of all of her albums.
Right.
So yeah, she's actually got like 16.
I know. I probably don't believe. Taylor Swift is 10. Queen is 11. What just happened? Queen is 11. The Rolling Stones are 12. See, that I don't understand. How are Pink Floyd and Queen ahead of the Rolling Stones? This thing just doesn't make any sense. Celine Dion is 13. AC/DC is 14. Whitney Houston is 15. The Eagles are 16. Billy Joel, Garth Brooks, first country guy is Garth Brooks. So Garth Brooks is the all-time leading country seller. That's
I find it hard to believe.
That is
believable.
crap. That is I bet Buck sold more freaking albums than Garth Brooks.
Again, time and like era and all of it too.
True.
But looking this up just for the Eminem Taylor Swift beef that we're having right now.
Yeah.
Eminem has sold over 220 million records worldwide in his career.
Wow.
Yeah, it's much higher than I expected as well.
And
Taylor Swift has over 100 million albums sold, but over 175 million digital singles worldwide.
So they don't count that?
I don't know. That's why I'm saying
because that's 275 right there.
That's where the line would get blurred for me because most artists now don't release albums anymore. They just release it on streaming services for you to listen to.
Oh, listen to that.
Oh yeah, it's coming down now.
No Lawsons for me tonight. It is pouring right now. And yet, if you look to the south, or excuse me, to the north, it's gorgeous. Look to the north. It's blue skies. This is all coming from, I guess, the east. Because it is absolutely pouring. So if you're getting ready to go to your car from work, get a book or something, because I bet you didn't take an umbrella to work today. That's why I wore my hoodie, but I ain't walking to Lawson's. I better call in we better take a break so I can go to my dinner somewhere. I have for grub. But I do have to get serious for just a second. let's go ahead and take a break. I'll come back and we'll get into the Scrivener thing. You'll hear from Robert Scrivener. You need to hang around for this. You need to hear this young man. He has spoken up before. This is a brave young kid. He really is. And in a very short bite, he describes what happened that night. And it just reignites your anger. How Zach Scrivener was able to get by this Attorney General, Rob Bonta, this no good son of a gun who should be impeached. It just really, and the fact that Kathy Scrivener, his mother, is still on the board, particularly when you hear this bite, it gives you no confidence in our justice system that people can do wrong, that powerful people with money can do wrong and just skirt, basically. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Final time out of the night on a rainy night. If you're getting ready to leave work, get something to defend yourself all the way to your car because it is pouring. At least just west of the 99, it is absolutely pouring. Look at Randy. He wore a hoodie today. Standing in the rain. Quick timeout, final timeout of the night. Keep it locked. Scott Jennings at the top of the hour. Tomorrow, the Van Alstynes make a final appearance, not for the year, but they're going on vacation, not taking me with them, clearly. And the folks from Bakersfield College will join us as well, and we'll sit down and talk with Howard Marcus. In the meantime, you're listening to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230. We're streaming live at KernRadio.com.
Kern Radio, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, KERN.
We've all been there. Sleepless nights, mind racing, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Video security, burglar alarms, fire alarms, access control, 24/7 monitoring, and more. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy, knowing we're here for you, your people, and your business. Visit bayalarm.com to talk to a local security expert. Bay Alarm, we got you.
It's that man again, Ralph Bailey for Adaptive Networks. Business owners, how many times have you called your IT company and
Whenever you're ready.
Three, two. So Tuesday is the big day for Honor Flight 53. 168 folks flew back on this honor flight. Well, they'll go to all the memorials, and then they're coming home Wednesday, and I hope you guys will get out to Meadows Field. They'll be touching down around 6:30, and welcome back all our veterans and all our guardians and all the volunteers of Honor Flight. I think the best charity in this community. Get out to Meadows Field and welcome back our veterans. Charity? Is it a charity? It's a charity. Let me see. Come on, Lorena, tell me what's coming on tomorrow. Let me wait and do the promo for tomorrow till after the show. I think I'll find out who the BC people are. Although, now let me do it now because I think she's going to tell me tomorrow. There's no way she's still at work. I'm assuming. Three, two. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Wednesday TRBS. Well, it's a Wednesday, so of course Howard Marcus will join us and Jennifer and Rhett. 3, 2. It's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Wednesday TRBS. Well, it's a Wednesday, so we'll sit down with Howard Marcus, our former federal agent, and owner-operators of Adaptive Networks, Jennifer and Ryan Van Alstyne, and the folks from Bakersfield College will join us as well. All that, me at 3. TRBS, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230, streaming live at kernradio.com. I'll see you at 3.
Every day is sale day.
Carpet Outlet Plus installed over 1 million square feet of flooring last year alone. Over 20 years of Bakersfield's best flooring store means you can trust us with your hardwood, laminate, vinyl, and of course, carpet. Come in today to see over 100 waterproof floors from our in-stock inventory. It's probably been time to change your floors for a while, so call, click, or stop by today. Your free in-home estimate is waiting for you. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Clay Travis and Buck Sexton live at 9 a.m. Now back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1230 KERN.
The autumn moonlights my way.
Yeah, no. I never really liked that song either.
Huh?
No.
Love this song.
Do you really?
I love Ramble On.
Because he gets up on his feet here in a second. It's kind of, you seem like. Yeah, okay. I forgot. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's a pretty cool song, actually.
So yeah, I can understand these guys being on the top list.
Yeah, they were. You have no idea the 70s. I mean, every white kid that I went to school had a black Led Zeppelin T-shirt, and yeah, there wasn't a white kid that didn't listen to Led Zeppelin. Meantime, Shannon Grove is up in Sacramento with Christina Scrivener, the estranged wife of Zach Scrivener, Lauren Skidmore from the Open Door Network, and Robert Scrivener trying to get SB 1373 across the goal line, which will kind of tighten up the loophole on child abuse and domestic violence, not making them eligible for mental diversion, as was the case, obviously, with Zach Scrivener. Well, one of his children, once again, went to Sacramento with Shannon Grove and testified. Here is young Robert Scrivener.
On April 23rd, 2024, my dad came home from work and then later that night crawled into bed with one of my younger siblings and molested them. My sibling came downstairs crying to me that their own father had done the unspeakable.
So what more do you need to know, school board members who sit there with Kathy Scrivener? You heard it directly from the witness that he climbed in bed with her, molested her. She came running down the steps to her brother and told her what happened. And then when Kathy Scrivener got there, she told them, according to the sheriff, this isn't according to Ralph Bailey, according to our sheriff, she told that child not to say anything to the cops. And you all sit there and work with her every night at the school board and don't say a word. It's despicable. At least for Scrivener, we understand her motivation. It's her son. It's her children. It's her family. I understand it. I don't forgive it. I don't condone it. But at least I can comprehend it. But you all, her colleagues, who aren't demanding that she resign immediately, that is incomprehensible to me. I just don't understand it. You know this woman has committed a crime. You know Donnie Youngblood isn't lying on this woman. You know this whole thing has been a travesty, and you perpetuate it by allowing that woman to serve on that board. It's an absolute travesty, and each one of you sons of guns should be ashamed of yourself because you're the enablers. You're the enablers. You're the ones that look the other way. And it's an absolute travesty. These people, these children are tortured for the rest of their lives. And what did Kathy Scrivener say? Let's just hush it up. Let's just don't get Zach in trouble. And you can even sit on the dais with her. It blows my mind. This is why I keep saying we talk a really good game. We really do. Oh, we defend our children. We protect our children. No, we don't. No, we don't. We sit by and we let people get away with this. This Donald Ricketts, who got 3 years. He got passed along the church. He committed the sexual assault in the church, allegedly. And the church, what did they do? They settled it. $5 million Donald Rodriguez got for this people. In fact, let's hear from Mr. Rodriguez. Here is the attorney for the victim in the Donald Ricketts case that just got settled by the Fairfax School District, none of whom will be held responsible, none of whom will be held accountable, but they can certainly write a $5 million check that they'll split with the church where the same thing happened. And what about the victim? Here's Daniel Rodriguez.
And some of the church activities would be held after school on school grounds. And we know of at least one incident that happened at the church.
Do we defend our children? The answer is absolutely not. At churches, at schools, at camps. It happens and it happens and it happens. And people just lend a blind eye. They write a check and they make it go away. It's mind-boggling. It really is. It's just hard to understand. How in the world do you sit next to Kathy Scrivener on that school board? Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's get ready for the meeting. Yeah. Here we go. We've got a tight one tonight. Yeah. Okay. It's amazing to me. It really, really is. It's so tragic. And what these people don't understand is that's how it happens in the future. That's how it happens because they're willing to roll the dice, particularly if they're powerful and entitled people. They're willing to roll the dice. When do we say enough is enough? When do we start holding people accountable? When do we start digging into the Fairfax School District? Why isn't 17, 29, or 23 digging deep into the Fairfax School District and finding out what the Sam Hill, and I clean that up, is going on? Why aren't they examining this church? The church is simply going to write a check. What about the victims? Yeah, they get money, but they're tortured for the rest of their lives. This isn't something that goes away. This is something they'll be talking about when they're in their 60s. They'll be in therapy perhaps for years. And grown folks just lend a blind eye. I wish somebody could make me understand it. I never will. I never, ever will. And it's not as if we're talking about something where, maybe you could give them a pass. We're talking about one of the single most heinous crimes any human being could commit. Sexually attacking a child. And thus, essentially, ruining them for life. Ruining them for life. Unless they have a really strong familial background and money to get them into therapy. This is how girls end up on poles. This is how girls end up with early pregnancies. Imagine your daughter having sex at the age of 11. Isn't that unthinkable? I mean, it's just, it just makes you want to cry. It really does. It just makes you want to cry. And that anybody would think it's okay just to write a check. You would think that the church and the school districts themselves would police themselves. And somebody would stand up and say, we got to get to the bottom of this. We got to find out how this happened. We got to find out how this Arvin cop was able to quit before he was investigated, and how he got to this church, and how he got to our school district, and how he became a vice principal. This man became a vice principal. And in most of these cases, as we now have discovered with Cesar Chavez and others, Eric Swalwell, it's the worst kept secret in the world. 9 times out of 10, multiple people know about the situation, but everybody just ignores it. It's even happening on an adult level with other adults. We're seeing it, sex is like, I don't know. That's why I wrote that column when I was in college about talking about sex. I think that if we had a more open-minded view of sex, I don't think we'd be so obsessed with it. I don't know. Maybe I'm talking out of my ass. I don't know what I'm saying. You see the labor secretary having to retire because she had a sexual situation. Kristi Noem had something going on. I think that played a role in her departure. Tony Gonzalez, Eric Swalwell. It's just, I thought sex was important to me, but good God almighty, I would never roll the dice with my career or do anything criminal just to appease my sexual desires. I don't get it, y'all. Let's read a couple of text messages and get the Sam Hill out of here. Go watch the Giants get throttled by the Dodgers tonight.
Ralph, at least you haven't bladed your ball into the bar at BCC on the 18th hole. I drove the ball 90 yards from the front of the green.
Now that's funny. That's a miss, dude. That's like from the back of the 18th green to the bar at BCC, that's a 40-yard miss, man.
At least.
Holy Toledo. Yeah, you're right. I ain't never done that. I've done some goofy things, though. Rolling an 8-iron into the lake is pretty bad. Pretty bad. And when I was standing over the ball, all I was thinking was, I'm going to get this tight. I'm going to get this tight. I got to step on it, though. And I picked my head up and rolled in the water. But yeah, you're right. I ain't never missed 40, 50 yards like that. That's a big miss. God, you must have had like 2 clubs wrong. Would you hit 5-iron from like 100 yards? Good movie. What else you got? One more. Let's get out of here.
Let's see. Ralph, remember January 6th when Kevin McCarthy and Mitch McConnell called it an insurrection, but it took the right-wing media about a year to change public opinions to not believe their lying eyes?
Hell, Kevin McCarthy at one point, it's such a well-kept secret. Kevin McCarthy at one point called for the 25th Amendment. Go look it up. I didn't make that up. He called for the 25th Amendment, meaning the removal. I don't know if you're not familiar with our amendments, but the removal of the presidency, removal of the president. It's just, it's remarkable to me how people can become chameleons. One day they say this, and one day they say that. One day they believe this, and one day they believe that. It's crazy. It's a crazy world out there. I want to thank Clayton Campbell for filling in. I'm going to send out my Humberto Sala Hail Mary to see if we can get him to fill in next Tuesday. Not that Clayton would be a fallback, because he's a great, great guy and a great radio personality. In fact, he's filling in for Mr. Flores tomorrow, but I'm going to take a Hail Mary on Humberto Sala. I'm going to promise him I'm not going to bring up the name Scrivener at all and just see if we can get him live in studio. But I want to thank Clayton. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Howard Marcus, the folks from DC, and the Van Alstynes. In the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. Rap to you tomorrow!
Kern Radio, AM 1230, KERN. 96.1 FM, K241CI Bakersfield, an American General Media station.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Virginia voters have approved a congressional redistricting plan that would help Democrats win up to 4 additional U.S. House seats in this year's midterm elections. Voters passed a constitutional amendment authorizing the unusual mid-decade redistricting, but their vote may not be the final say because the question still faces legal challenges, including before the state Supreme Court. The Virginia referendum is the latest development in a national redistricting battle that began after President Donald Trump urged Texas Republicans to pass a map more favorable to the GOP. President Trump participated in a marathon Bible reading event this evening. He joined other Christians in reading a passage of Scripture during an event live streamed from the Museum of the Bible in Washington. The president read a familiar passage from 2 Chronicles, which has long been a major theme at annual National Day of Prayer events.
But my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways. Then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land.
The marathon reading includes the entire Bible, from famous verses to less well-known passages. Congresswoman Sheila Sherfilis McCormick has resigned, doing so